So there you go. We're now recording, guys. So we'll have that for you. You can access that later on. Yeah. Lovely. Thank you, Faisal. Appreciate that. So, guys, is there anybody particularly working within reward management, or does anybody have that under your remit? Anybody?
No.
No. Nobody. Okay. So again, you will come across it. It's going to be part of HR generally. So I'm sure that one day, sooner or later, you're going to come very, very close to it. So let's have a look. Excuse me. So guys, I don't have to tell you, it's all about taking notes during this session. We're going to have quite a few discussions. We'll be doing breakout rooms. You'll be doing some little projects, etc. So you're all comfortable with that? Yeah? You're all happy with that? Any questions on that? No? All good? Good. So about the unit, I'm not going to dwell on this too much. I think we're all pretty understanding about what we are talking about. It's all about reward. It's all about and it is really about retaining people, guys. I don't know what the situation is in your countries now, but in the UK, people change jobs very, very quickly. We've got a very, shall we say, employee pro market in the UK. There's lots and lots of jobs and not many people to fill them. So the employees have the power. And I'm wondering what it's like in your countries. In Oman, is it a very strong labor market for the employees, or is it in favor of the employers where there's not many jobs and you can really control the market a little bit? What's it like in Oman, guys?
Actually, it's been turning around since COVID. We had a turnover rate last year of 20% in our company.
Wow.
So now this is the serious discussion where we need to revise the HR manual and include more benefits for our employees.
So what do you think happened then around COVID? Did that just make people more aware that, hang on, I can move around a little bit, I can work from home? But was it that awareness that made the difference?
No, I think the markets are opening up and now people are starting recruiting again. Before there was a reservation about recruitment. They don't know about what's happening. The first thing that stopped during the COVID pandemic was training budget and recruitment budget. Immediately, those were put on hold. Actually, we had to lay over some employees in 2020. Right. But now the market is opening up, so it's only natural that people will leave.
Yeah, I'm with you. Thank you, Bal. I really appreciate that. Mariam, what's it like in Egypt?
No, actually, it's in favor of the employees. We had a high turnover ratio last year in 2022. Usually, we have 2 to 3%. Last year, it went to 7%.
Wow. Okay.
So packages are increasing like crazy in the market, and the headhunting issue is based on the packages, the financial packages.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it is a problem.
It's challenging. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank
you. Actually, we had done something in this regards. We are implementing the Hey job evaluation process, and we took a workshop, all the managerial, the middle management and the senior management, and we formed committees to evaluate all our bank's job in order to be a little bit competing in the market.
Okay, so you've done a benchmarking project, really, yeah?
Yeah.
Excellent.
And currently are evaluating the jobs.
Excellent. Well done. Thank you, Mariam. Appreciate that. Farhan, how about yourself? What's it like where you are?
Well, in Pakistan, the situation is very different because of
just about
poor
see
economic.
The top of your head, Farhan. Just about see the top of your head.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now you can see. Okay. The situation is very different over here because of a poor economic condition. The employees, they don't want to leave the job, whatever job they are having. So they want to stick to their to their environment if they don't like it, because of many reasons, cultural reasons as well, the responsibilities they have, and the poor economic condition, the industries are closing down. So right now, even in the COVID, we observe that people, they don't want to leave the job.
Right.
Even
So
if they are not paid enough, they want to stick to that.
As long as they're earning enough money and they got job security, that's more important, yeah?
Yes, and
another
trend in Pakistan, that people, they want to join the government organization more than the private organization. Because you have a lot of job security in the government organization. Once you get in, you're rest assured that you're there for another 30 years.
Yeah. Understood. Appreciate that. Thank you, Fran. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Guys, what about in Dubai? Somebody in Dubai, how is it, the situation there? What's the market like there?
I think we faced similar trends as Mariam and Badr has mentioned. Actually, the turnover and the recruitment, since I'm in the recruitment unit at the moment, so turnover is really high. Like, we're constantly hiring, onboarding people. Yes, the market has opened and it's been very, very competitive, especially in the banking and financial sector, since there is high demand for new talent, for fresh ideas to come into the organization and to make it moving as fast paced as the market. So it's quite busy period. So hopefully, like things, I hope that it would settle at some point, because going forward like that, it's gonna be insane.
It's a challenge, isn't it, Leanne? It's a challenge.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Sama, what about Saudi Arabia? Hello, Sama, can you hear me? Hello, Sama, can you hear me? We're having some issues today, guys. There we go. Is everybody else, can you give me a thumbs up on the screen? Just give me your thumbs up if you can hear me, okay? And you haven't got any problems, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, it's clear.
Yeah, good, excellent. Abdullah, are you okay there?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah, and Manira, you okay?
Yes, it's okay.
Excellent. So Sama, can you hear me? Hello, Sama, can you hear me? Sorry, guys. Listen. I don't want to miss out too much on this. I just will try and make sure she's got connection. Hello, Sama. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you, but I got a problem in the internet only. I'm sorry. I was trying to reply, but I thought that I think that no one was hearing me.
No, we couldn't hear you at all. So, but are you hearing everything I say, Sama?
Yes, I'm aware, but I have just only maybe 1 minute just cut between while you were speaking. Only maybe 1 minute.
Okay, no problem. Thanks, Sama. What I asked Sama is what is the employment market like in Saudi? Is there lots and lots of jobs and not many people, or is there not many jobs and lots of people looking for jobs?
No, actually, it's not like we have a lot of jobs or we have unemployment people. No, it's a little bit. The strategy of the market is it's changing every day. The Saudization percentage is getting higher and higher year after year. So the demands of the market in Saudi Arabia is different based on the circulars, the instructions from the country. So some, like for example, last month we heard that the percentage of the Saudization should be higher with 2 to 3% in some fields, like for example, pharmacy, administrative jobs. So it's like we can't say that we have a lot of people who are unemployed, or we have a lot of jobs still open. No, it's like sometimes we feel that everyone is now having a job, and sometimes we feel that we still have people who can't get a job because their majors are not required anymore in the market.
Okay.
Like, yeah, that's why we can't actually define the situation in the Saudi market here. But the main aspect, the main thing is clear here for us, that the demands of the market every year is changing. Like, for example, this year exactly, we have the first graduation people from cybersecurity and AI, and
Okay.
they start, and they all of them, since they graduated, they are now hired.
Wow. Okay, so it really
so
depends what sector you're
yeah,
working in Sama.
And actually, this is the first period we have this. Like, for example, they open this major in the universities before 4 years, so they can get them once they graduate.
Right.
It was actually, it was something different for us. It was something we didn't imagine, that those people are actually very, very lucky. Most of the people now who are, for example, having old majors or not required majors since maybe for the last 10 years, until now they don't have a job because they are not required in the market anymore. So
the market is actually changing,
Saudi Arabia.
The market is changing, the job requirements are changing.
What they are requiring. Sometimes the requirements in new majors, a new expertise. Sometimes no, we want the Saudization to be higher. Sometimes we want a specific kind of experience. We can't predict the market here in Saudi Arabia.
No, that's really interesting, Sama. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay then, guys. Excellent. Very interesting, guys. Very interesting. Let's have a look. Okay, so what we're going to be trying to do over the week, so understand effective reward strategies and policy frameworks. That's the main sort of area we're looking at, guys. Understand the value of total rewards approach. Understand pay structures and their suitability in different organizational contexts. Understand the importance of organizational approaches to compliant and ethical reward. So these are the questions, the ACs. I'm sure you're familiar with this now. So we've got AC 1.1, examine the key factors influencing the design of reward strategy and policy frameworks. Discuss the importance of aligning the reward framework to the wider organizational context and strategy. Critically justify the value of reward benchmarking exercises. So Mariam, you'll be able to help us there. And the main methodologies organizations use to gather data. Critically evaluate the impact of organizational reward strategies to attract, motivate, and retain talent. Oops, sorry. So let's look at AC 1.1 then, guys. Okay. Now, if you've got any questions, just put your hands up or give me a shout and we'll discuss them as we go through, okay? So that's our first question, guys. What is reward? What do we mean by reward? And I'm putting this over to you now. So throw at me what you want. Give me your ideas, give me your thoughts, and we'll have a bit of a discussion on this. So what is reward? What do we mean by that, guys?
Mr. Allan, I think it's like what we give as a result for a give. When you give, this is what you get. It's a result for something it was given. Okay,
so you're looking at reward, Sama, just as an extra. So at the end of the year,
no, not an extra. It's a conditional thing, actually. Once you are giving something, it is expected you will get rewarded. It's not like extra thing to be given. No, it's conditional.
Okay, so are we saying then, are you including salary in that? Is salary a reward?
The salary is something you get based on a contract, but the increment in the salary is a reward.
Okay, So what about reward based on your results?
That's what is exactly my job. Based on the performance results, you get rewarded.
Okay, so is reward just monetary then? Are we looking at just money?
No, it should not only be money. No, it's actually based on whatever the culture or the policy in the company. It might be like, for example, a circular sent for everyone, like appreciation certificate. It can be, for example, a program specific for recognizing those people in monthly basis, quarterly basis. It should not be only money. No.
Okay, excellent, thank you. Anybody else got some ideas about reward from your organizations? Is it something that you do differently? What Salma's talking about there is what we call total reward systems, where you have money, you have non-monetary rewards. What about Mariam? What about you? What are you doing?
I think, Alan, it's the total package of compensation and benefits itself. So it's the salary, the profit sharing, the bonus, the medical insurance, the maybe where we grant staff loans for our staff. It's several things together to form all the compensation and benefits. It's all based, the majority of them might be based on the performance of the staff itself. It differs from one to another in terms of annual increase or profit sharing or bonus. All the other is fixed benefits like the medical insurance and things.
So what we're saying really is reward is quite a big field, isn't it? Now, people think, oh, reward is just a little bonus at the end of the year. It's a little bit more than that, isn't it?
Yes.
It's a little bit, and it is a strategic thing that we need to be working on, yeah?
Of course.
Good.
And it's a major part of our employee value proposition. The employee here is being valued in a little bit of materialistic value in terms of money and benefits.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting, we'll talk about it later, it's actually knowing what our employees actually value.
Yes,
is very important, because some people will find money very important, others not so much. So that's another part of this. Thanks, Maria. Leanne. Hey, Leanne, can you hear me? Hello, Leanne. Yeah. Okay, in the chat room, you mentioned recognition. So I'm going to ask you now, is recognition and reward exactly the same thing then?
No, so basically it goes hand in hand. You always kind of hear recognition and reward. So recognition it's I believe not a monetary kind of association to that. So reward, maybe I might be incorrect in that, has some monetary aspect on it. So hence the reason they came as rewards and recognition. So
yeah, no, you're quite right there. And recognition and reward, as you said, go hand in hand. The recognition bit is actually saying to people, you've done a good job, you've done well. And then the reward comes after that. And as you quite rightly said, it doesn't have to be monetary. We talked about monetary rewards, we talked about various benefits, non-monetary. So again, this thing about understanding what our employees need and want is very, very important. Hussein, you have a question there.
Yeah, just to add on this, I think that the reward is the total package, or that cover each and everything. I will say it is the EVP itself. I will say if you compare between this, the recognitions and the compensations, which is, we'll talk about compensation, the base pay, the bonuses, the equity, but the reward is also covering the compensation itself, and covering the recognition itself, and covering the overall program that you would like to retain and attract talent within your organization. So it is include the monetary, the non-monetary, even the psychological even part is included, medical part is included, the overall thing that you offer the employee to retain and to attract in the same time.
Excellent. Okay, so I'm going to be devil's advocate here, because I've had a number of different approaches of this. So if your employee says, like you just said now, that everything, the whole package is seen as a reward system. So if the employee turns around and says, well, I get paid to do my job, so that's not a reward. A reward is something I get for doing above and beyond. What would you say to that, Hussein?
I would say that the reward is classified some for it, that, as I think Mariam stated, the compensation, which is the part that you get just to be compensated for doing your work that assigned to you. And this is part of the reward that you are getting. And this is something that everything and every organization have to do, to make sure that legally they are, and there is a compliance, and legal compliance is there. But reward, I will say it is included the competitions with other organizations to attract you as a talent people. So I will offer you something that other organizations is not really offering.
Yeah.
So
No,
I will say it is the differentiation between organizations to attract and keep talent. How I position myself within the industry that I am working in, or even within the country, or even within the segment that I'm working in, to make sure that I attract talent.
Okay, so are we saying, and this is a question to everybody, thanks for saying this, is interesting. Are we saying now then that where reward in the past really just was a reward system, if you've done very well, you will receive a bonus, you'll receive some benefits, you'll receive an award of some kind. Are we now saying that reward is more of a recruiting tool and a retention tool? Is that where it is now?
Yes, it is. Actually, while implementing the reference levels of the Hey job evaluation thing, we found that some organizations in the market are doing the same, but giving each job a reference level +1 or +2 to increase the minimum salary for these jobs. So they can be an attractive, it could be an attractive point for employees in the market. So it's a competition tool as well.
That's interesting.
And the salary is included, I think. It's not a part of it.
Yeah. So are we saying now then that salary is almost a secondary thing? We know salary is important, but when you get people coming for interviews, are they actually actively looking at, well, you know, what bonuses do you give? What rewards are you offering? What do I get, you know, at the end of the year? Is this the situation now?
Yes.
Yeah. That's interesting. Excellent, guys. Good discussion. Well done. Thank you. So let's have a look what we got next. So reward refers to all the monetary and non-monetary and psychological. Somebody mentioned psychological payments that an organization provides for its employees in exchange for work. It's pretty straightforward, isn't it? What do we mean by psychological reward? What does that mean?
It's the well-being of the employee.
Well-being, excellent, Mariam, excellent, well-being. Not to you, Mariam, because you just answered the question. I'm just open to everybody else. What does well-being mean, guys? What are we talking about when we talk about well-being?
It means considering the psychological factors of the employees being in the organization.
Yeah, such as, Bada, give me an example.
Psychological safety, being able to speak up without being punished, for example.
Yeah. Work-time balance, work-life balance.
Exactly, yes. That's another part.
Lack of stress, lack of bullying, lack of harassment. As you said, being able to say what you think without being punished. Working from home, maybe, giving you that time, you know, an easier working scenario. Yeah. And I'll be honest with you guys, I think that is becoming far more important to employees. Employees are expecting well-being. They're expecting to be treated better. They're expecting to have freedom. They're expecting more work-life balance. So where we relied in the past on, there you are, there's $1,000, at the end of the year, well done, you've done a good job. That isn't enough anymore, guys. That isn't enough, and we have to be very, very thoughtful about the sort of packages that we're putting together, that we're definitely answering the needs of our employees. And what is really interesting now, guys, the needs of our employees are changing, especially with the generational thing. You may not be impacted quite yet about generational issues. I'm sure they're out there in your parts of the world. In the UK, it's a big thing. In America, it's a massive thing. So we've got Gen Zs now. I don't know if you're familiar with these generational things. Gen Zs seem to be an issue. They don't really like working very much, but they want lots of money for not doing an awful lot other than playing on their phones. It's a challenge for everybody. But where our generation, my generation, I'm a baby boomer, so I'm getting on now. We accepted that we had to work hard to get a reward, and that reward was generally monetary. That's changing, guys. That is changing incredibly. And if we don't change as organizations and HR and understand the needs of the new generations, millennials, Gen Ys, Gen Zs, we're going to lose out, because these guys are the future of our organizations. And if we can't keep them, we're not going to go anywhere. Saying you still got your hand up. I'm not sure if you've got another question or you want to talk, or if...
Yeah, just elaboration on this, just to add more on just of what the team said, that I think now a time is looking to the employee, to the organization as a family, where you need to make sure that in this family, you have to take care of each and everyone.
Yes.
The younger generation, the older generations, type of work that they do, and you build a system where it really help each and everyone to be part of this family and being happy. Look, for example, yeah.
Fully agree with it, but does that not put so much pressure on HR? This isn't an easy job anymore. It used to be, at the end of the year, there you are, here's $1,000. It was easy, wasn't it? Now, this is more challenging. This is putting a lot of pressure to make sure that we are following and ensuring that we're keeping people happy. Is it worth all this extra work and all this hassle? Is it worth it?
With the new generation, yes. Otherwise, you will lose them. You will lose the talented people, because other organizations, they are striving to get the talented.
Yeah.
And I will give you a simple example, a very simple example. Type of leaves that you are providing your employee is crucial for them. Being with them to make sure that they are really doing the work and they have a very good work-life balance, that they go back to their home and do their things, to make sure that they are coming to here to work, to serve their families and to serve their personal stuffs. Not the opposite one. So they stay overtime and they work most of the time, and there is no enough time for them to go to sit with their families. A lot of new things that we need to think of to make sure that really we keep people happy. The work environment is totally different. I will say even Oman, I will say before 15 years, no one is looking after all of this. Before 15 years, people, they are looking to get salaries, to be paid, and to live. Now it is not the same story. You have people, younger, fresh graduate, they come to be interviewed. They really, it is okay for them to reject the offer if they are not really happy, even with the organization name, the reputation of the organization, and they don't have anything to lose. They say, okay, we'll stay. If we stayed for 2 to 3 years, we are okay. We'll stay for another 1 year to work in an organization that we love.
It's very
even being employer of choice is a big part of the employee well-being, which is playing a major role to sell yourself in the market, or to sell the organization in the market.
Good point, Hussein. Good point. Really appreciate that, mate. Really appreciate it. And I think, guys, we've all got to accept this. The world is getting tougher. A couple of years ago, we could all just sit back and people would come to us. Young people aren't doing that. Gen Zs, they're very, very savvy. They know what they want. They know where they want to work with. They know what they want to do. And we have to work hard for these people now. We really have to work on it. The easy times are over when people just used to queue up to come into our organizations, you know, most of the place, most times. So yeah, interesting. So just on screen, there's a few of the key words, the key terminology. We've got compensation. Now, that's an interesting word because although we use it in business, generally it means to get paid when something goes wrong. We generally look at compensation in the UK. If you've had an accident, you'll get some compensation, but it can also be seen as pay, salary, bonuses, etc. Reward, and we know that mandatory and non-mandatory payments. Remuneration, that's basically pay, your salary. Wages, so that's your wages that you get paid hourly or weekly or monthly. Sorry, wages are hourly or weekly, and then salaries generally based on an annual quantification and paid monthly. So I'm sure you're all familiar with those. It's just quite interesting to go over them. So why are rewards important? Guys, we've talked quite a bit already about why they're important, but the main areas we've been talking about is to attract people, to retain people. But let's look at that a little bit further. What about motivation? Motivation must come into this. If people are looking to get rewarded, then they have to work for it. Recognition, being able to get promoted, earning more money, giving people more responsibility. Personal growth, which is quite interesting. And I think I don't know if we're losing the link between reward and this growth in people, because I'm worried that organizations are just looking at the reward structure to attract new people. I'm not sure if we are concentrating on the right area anymore. What do you think? Are your organizations doing it right? Are they doing it in the right way? You tell me, Talal, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's linked together, Alan.
Yeah.
Both the reward along, which is financial and non-financial benefits, along with the career path. Now, when you attract talents, they are very much now concerned about the growth and the career path, and where they will be after a point of time. So that's really linked together.
So
and in our company,
still think that part of it is there, Talal, yeah?
Yes, career path, and of course, along with the well-being and other stuff, which is now even a new generation, they are really very much smart, and due to the social media, they can connect to anyone in that organization, or reference, they can get a reference about that organization, or even that sort of manager to know before they work even to that department. So they are very smart, and they have their own ways to find out different ways, and even to the extent that if they are not happy with that organization, or they are treated unfairly, they might, due to their easy access to social media, they might say something which might ruin the reputation of that company. So it's really very, nowadays it's quite different. Yeah,
I think it's very interesting that younger generation, and they're not scared to walk away from a job. They're not scared at all. If they don't like it and they're not satisfied, they'll get up and they'll walk out. It's a very different world now, guys. Farhan, you got something you'd like to add there?
Yes, I would like to chip in. This is perhaps the Herzberg two-factor theory, the hygiene factors and the motivators.
Yeah.
What I have observed in Pakistan, that this personal growth has never been considered by the managers and the HR people. Unfortunately, they think that this is something that individuals must look into for their own self.
Okay.
So they do not have an idea that actually, this is the organizational responsibility that they must look into the personal growth of the people. They must be shown a path that if you stay within our organization, by this time period, you would achieve this level. It may be a small thing, it may be the bigger thing, the appointment, bigger office, big pay, and other stuff, but the personal growth should be the part of HR. Unfortunately, we don't have that in Pakistan.
Okay, that's interesting. And is that just a cultural thing, Farhan, rather than a business thing?
Yes, I would agree that it's a cultural thing, and not the business thing. But I think now we should be moving away from this cultural thing, and we should concentrate that if we lose an employee because he has more need for achievement, that McLennan theory, another theory, that he has more need for achievement, he should be shown a path. And in government organization,
that would be recognized.
So in government organization, we don't see it much, because everyone knows that after 10 years, I would be this. And after 20 years, I would reach to this level. And after 30 years, I would be reaching this level. And that's it.
It's
so
in the British government, we call it being promoted to the point of incompetence.
Yes, exactly.
And you will get there sooner or later.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes,
for
it is like
good
this.
Point.
Thank you.
It's a good point. Thank you. Bader, would you like to jump in?
Yes, I would just like to add, for me, the reward will never be a rigid system where it can be listed in the HR manual. You know, again, having the business partner, HR business model is always the best thing, because being close to the level of employees, understanding their needs. Now that's, for me, is an effective reward program or effective reward system. Because each employee at a certain age of a certain period of their life, they have different needs. If you are a fresh graduate, you want as much money as possible. If you are a settled man, you are married, you have children, you would like work-life balance. If you have spent 20, 25 years of experience and you would like someone to be in a managerial position, that's a different reward system. For me, it's always been like a customizable package for each employee. And having an HR employee being close to all the employees, knowing their needs, is very important for having an effective reward program.
So are you saying that Maslow's is still worthwhile then, Bader?
Definitely. In every situation, whether you're dealing with your children, whether you're dealing with your employees, Maslow's hierarchy of needs has been proven, and it's effective in everywhere.
Yeah, I like Maslow's, and I think it makes a lot of sense, especially in a reward situation. Guys, you all familiar with Maslow's, yeah? Yeah, all happy with that? Give me a thumbs up if you're happy, yeah? You understand it? All good? Brilliant, brilliant. Well done, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Right, yeah. Good discussion, guys. I think we're all on the same page there with the way things are changing, definitely. So let's have a look at some different types of reward. Extrinsic and intrinsic. It's quite an interesting concept. Sorry. Excuse me. Extrinsic is something that we can hold in our hand, something physical. Intrinsic is more in line with our inner feelings. Going back to Maslow's, extrinsic is more on the lower end, you know, your survival, your safety side of things. So I need money, I need money to live, and the intrinsic are more on a higher level. So it's about your self-realization, about achievement, etc. So very, very interesting the way the two fit together. And I think, as Bader said, if you can understand what needs motivate your employees on an individual basis, you can keep them happy. It's no point giving somebody who is very, very orientated around their role, their level, their appreciation, their prestige. They might not want a $500 bonus. It might not make any difference to them at all. Where on the other side, as Bada said, you got a new graduate coming in and they got a young family. Then if you understand that and you understand their needs, you'll realize, well, actually, giving them an Employee of the Year award isn't really going to do much. It's because it's not what they need. It's that guy needs money because he's saving for his family and he wants to grow and his costs are going up, etc. So I really, really think, guys, that Maslow's is an important tool that we can use, and putting the time and effort in to find out what individual employees actually want can repay itself over and over again. Any agreement on that, or anybody wants to challenge me on that, guys? Come on, I like a good challenge.
Yes, though it seems very important, but you see that in bigger organization, it is difficult to manage. Each employee who is coming to your organization, I have more than 5,000 people in my organization,
right.
And looking after their concern for individuals' concern may not be possible as far as the extrinsic reward is concerned.
Agreed.
Yes, we can work towards intrinsic reward, for example, the physical surrounding, the values, the ability to listen, the opportunity to go for a training and something like that. But the extrinsic reward, perhaps we may not be able to capture the basic essence.
So isn't it, no matter how many people you've got in your organization, 5,500, isn't this the responsibility of the line manager anyway? It's the line managers that learn about people that are with them day to day. Shouldn't they be doing that?
Yes, as far as intrinsic reward is concerned, yes, we can work on that. For example, we can we can train our line managers how to work within a team, how to lead a team, how to be considerate with other person, how to value other person, how to give respect to other person. These things can be trained and taught. But you see that these are those egalitarian values which should be taught.
Yeah.
And but the other things, yes, for example, increasing salary out of the turn, or giving benefits which are not there in the policy, that would create imbalance in the organization. Then people are going to point that someone is getting more salary because he is in the in-group of the senior management and I'm in the out-group. So the group dynamics is going to play in. And once this is there, they lose motivation, they lose their satisfaction level within their organization, and certainly it impacts their performance.
That's interesting. It's interesting. Just trying to think what you said there. Do I agree with that? I fully agree with that we've got to be extremely careful that we are open, fair, and there's total transparency with reward, etc. I don't think it's much to ask of a line manager to find out stuff about the people that work for them. I don't think that's too much. I don't think it's impossible for a line manager to sit down and say, Abdullah, what really gets you going? What actually motivates you? What gets you going up in the morning? What is important to you? I don't think that's a terrible thing to expect line managers to do. But yeah, I'll be honest with you, my general finding is that in all areas, not all areas, that's unfair, but generally in the area of performance management, reward, our issue is with line managers. I have found this over and over again. I haven't got time. it's not my day job. No, it is your day job and you should make time. So I feel that it's very important that line managers engage with their employees to actually understand what their needs, both from an intrinsic and extrinsic point of view. Bada, you put your hand up just before Mariam, so we'll go to you first.
Okay, I'll make it short, Alan. To me, depending on the line managers, to do HR's role, for me, it never worked. Managers, they will never prioritize HR's responsibility or HR's work over their primary work, because it will never be in their KPI. Again, the HR business partner model, to me, is the best model. Since I worked with many line managers, usually they tend to be in 20, 25 years of experience. They reach that stage where they don't like to be dictated what to do. They don't like to be schooled. Basically, you'll have an HR employee or HR manager again, or someone who's working the HR field, who's 10, 15 years less experience, and who will be teaching this this line manager, about what they're supposed to do. This to me never worked, and I don't think it will work. You're rooting for the wrong cause there. Again, the HR business partner business model is always the best, because he or she will be closer to the employees. They will understand their needs. It's in their role. It's their benefit to know exactly what motivates them, how we can change the business environment there. Because decentralizing the HR role to a business partner, a business model, is always the best.
It's a very good point, Bada. It's a very good point, but I'll challenge you on that. Do you think that line managers have no HR type responsibility then?
Yes, I'm not in favor of giving them any HR responsibilities.
So performance management, should that be done by business managers, business partners?
No. This cannot be done 100%, but the facilitator will be the HR business partner. Again, the line manager will never give this a priority. But if you have a business partner who worked in that area or that department, for example, for the whole year, he can even keep records on the monthly, on the bi-monthly and yearly basis about the achievements, about the interactions, what's happening between the managers, between the employees, and provide suggestion, even a chip in when it comes to the performance review. Now the people are tending to have not a yearly performance review, but sometimes biannually, sometimes monthly, sometimes quarterly. That's another thing. I think having that regular business performance review is again something better.
Oh, without doubt. Yeah, continuous performance review should be where everybody's going, but I don't think many organizations are there. Bada, we won't drag this on too much, but I don't agree with you. I think if line managers aren't doing it, then we get them to do it. Is their day job. Not every organization who've got business partners, they're not big enough. And even in those organizations, the line managers tend not to do what they should do. I honestly strongly feel that HR needs to be pressurizing line managers to do their job properly, which includes bits of HR. That's just the way it is. But we'll agree to differ, Bada. We'll agree to differ. Mariam, you've got a point.
Yeah, actually, Alan, I agree with you. Sorry, Badr. HR will have always the upper hand. HR sets the rule, sets the matrices, that sets the sheet for the annual compensation review and the rewards and things. But this should be shared with line managers. Definitely. And actually, in an organization with 7,000 employees, we do focus groups with line managers. We do workshops. Even when evaluating the jobs currently, we include them in the committees while evaluating these jobs. And actually, they have interesting add-ons to add to the HR. Of course, the HR business partner is an important role in the HR, but they partner with the line managers first place and the rest of the employees, of course.
I see business partners more as an advisory role.
Yes.
and there to stop things going wrong and to keep things going in the right direction, but not to take that role away from the line manager. That's my opinion.
Yes, another point, actually adding to Farhan's opinion, I think the variation in the salaries should be documented and have a base. And if we have a variation between people because they are within the senior management group or outside the senior management group, this contradicts with the values of the organization. And this should be something wrong in the intrinsic reward system. So it should be rectified, because it's a major part to have to remove the biasness and to remove the preferences and things. So it's a part of the organization values. Being transparent and hearing the employee's voice and so on is a major part as well. Thank you.
Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting.
Just a point here. I agree with Mariam that the disparity within the same grade level should be removed. Either the person should be promoted so as to fall in another grade scale and get the more salary. The cultural aspect is missing here, you know. Pakistan being the collectivist society, and you get you are asked to do it as a favor so that you have your job intact. And sometimes the power distance is such great that you have to follow these out of the routine promotions and payment scheme. I have observed it for the past 32 years, except for the army, where you can't get more pay because the government is paying that, and you have to follow that pay scale.
Indeed.
Once I landed up in civil organization, I have seen it enough. Every time, if you want your job, you have to follow the owner's recommendation, and sometimes you got to do it unethically as well.
Interesting.
Really sad.
Yeah, thank you, Fran. I appreciate that. Hussein, you'd like to add something?
Yeah, I defer to disagree with Badr again here to what he said about the HR. If we will do everything as an HR, then we'll be seen as the police station where everything should be followed. So they look to the HR that the rulers, those who stop everything, those who trying not to promote anyone, those who are trying to impose only rules and regulations, those who are only looking after the absenteeism and to punish people, grievance, and you can say disciplinary part. But now you have to empower the line manager, and most, as per my understanding, the rule that is 70% of the line manager is to manage people and to lead people, and the 30% is looking after the technical part. Otherwise, then it will not work. And the line manager is playing a major role, or they are the key to make sure that the work environment is a healthy environment. It's not the HR. Because maybe you have the best system in the organizations, your reward or your total reward, your total compensation, your employee well-being is perfect, but you have a line manager who is really destroying the teams. And you see that people, they are leaving because of the line managers. And has been my understanding also. Yeah, please.
There is overwhelming evidence in the UK and USA. People leave managers, they don't leave organizations. Overwhelming. And I was reading a report yesterday talking about your percentages there, that generally in the UK, having done a survey, they find that managers are going 80% on their job and then 20% on their employees, which is totally wrong. The recommendation is 50-50. You should be spending half your time on your role and then half your time on your employees. But this does come down to structural issues again, Hussein, and I would go with Bader on this, that in some organizations, the structure is so poor that you are putting so much pressure on line managers. I've talked to line managers in BA systems who had 146 direct reports. How can you expect that man to do a proper annual appraisal on 146 people? It's absolutely impossible. So the structural side of the organization needs to be looked at so that line managers are able to do the job properly. And then the support from HR and senior leaders need to be looked at as well.
I think they need to work on the span of control, otherwise they will not be able to manage.
Definitely.
The other part, I would agree with Bader related to that business partnering model. Now, what we are missing as an HR is the trust of the business. Are we really the best advisor to support the business to grow? I think yes, if we will sit in the business table to understand the business need, the business strategies, how they think, and where they are moving. So based on that, we can act as an HR to move forward and to help the organization. But if we are just doing the operational part and just we get the orders from the management and we move forward, then really will not be a helpful to the organization.
No, good point. I think the message here is, guys, to everybody that HR should now be a strategic part of the organization. HR should be sat at the top table. HR should be making decisions for the next 10 years, not just looking after people's pay, not just looking after disciplinary issues, not just looking after people's problems. HR should be looking at what we need to be doing as an organization 5 to 10 years ahead. We must become a strategic part of the business. And if we can, the value that adds is absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible, guys.
And I think there is a major or key issue that people, they look to the HR policies and procedures as the HR made them, which is not the case.
Yeah.
It is done after study, and it is the result of the proposals of the management or the organization or the board of directors. And based on that, it is reflected in a policy to make sure that it is clear for each and everyone. But now people and the line manager, they are looking to the HR policies as it is made, designed by HR themselves.
Yeah.
And also here, HR, they need to play a key role to make sure that they educate the company on this moving forward.
Definitely. No, well done. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Good chat, guys. Good chat. Okay, so on screen now you can see we're looking at reward strategy. So there should be a strategy coming from the top down. And I don't always see that, I must admit, but there should be a strategy from the top down. And, we're looking at three major areas, and that's where are we now? Where do we want to be? What's the business case? And it's interesting when we look at this horizontal and vertical alignment, which we'll discuss later on in the week. So yeah, I don't think we all ask ourselves these questions, and I don't think organizations really ask us questions. And I'm pretty sure that we don't always see alignment between functional requirements and the requirements of the organization when it comes to reward. I really don't always see that. And I think that's important as well, guys, to think about. Are we aligning what we're doing at a functional level with what we're doing at a strategic level? So something to think about, guys. So management approaches. Approaches and reward strategy. So focus on service, characterized by open-ended agreements about continuity, employment, incremental pay scales. Focus on skills, and then focus on performance. What do you guys do? What do your organizations do? Which one of those approaches would be closest to you? Somebody want to jump out and give me an idea? So we got focus on service, focus on skills, or focus on performance.
Actually, we implement the three types in in our organization. We have some contracts or agreements are based on a certain service with a certain payment or increment or pay scale that is reviewed on annual basis. Either we continue, we raise the salary, or we end the contract.
Okay.
And we have the based on skills, especially in the technical part, in the information security part, and the IT, and in some areas, we have a higher rate of payments for these guys. And the performance is the base, where we pay people upon we raise salaries, we give the annual increases, the bonuses, the profit sharing based on the performance. So the three are
they're all entwined, yeah. No,
yes.
that's good. And I would expect that, to be honest, that there's going to be a little bit of each somewhere.
Yes.
I think if you're working for a sales orientated organization, the performance is probably way ahead. If you're working in an industrial area, probably the skills tends to lean forward. And then with the service side, that's something that's probably in the background most of the time anyway.
In the banking sector, you have all three combined.
Yes,
you have the sales team, you have the operations team, and you have the specific tasks or services.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting. Leanne, you want to add something there?
Yes, I think it's quite similar to Mariam's approach, which she mentioned, because I'm also in the banking sector. So we categorize it into kind of three main parts. So basically, there is bonuses, which is usually for the back office roles. And then you have incentives, as you mentioned, Allan, that's for the sales, direct sales roles. And then you have something called business targets. So it depends from one role to another. Some of them, it doesn't work as incentives or bonuses. So we have something called business targets. So if you are given that specific assignment and you accomplished it in a specific way throughout the year, then you would achieve that business target. So it's kind of segregated into those three main, I would say, rewards.
Technologies.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great, Leanne. Thank you very much. Interesting. Appreciate that. Yeah. Okay. Good. And I think you're right. I think generally most organizations will have a mix of some percentage or another. Yeah. Good. Well done. So, what we're going to do, guys? Should we have a quick coffee break? Does that sound good? Yeah.
Yes.
Mariam's there. Yes. I need a coffee break. I need a break. Okay, guys. Can we do a quick 10-minute coffee break? Is that okay?
Yes, lovely.
Good. Okay. Come back in as soon as you can. I'll be here, and then just let me know when you're back in, guys. Okay. Thank you. Right, so I did click it and it didn't start, but we're there now. Thank you. Yeah, so I couldn't understand why a football coaching course was required in a military organization or a military-based organization. And I basically turned it down, obviously. But this is the type of thing that you get, guys. Are we 100% sure when we're looking at developmental opportunities that that is aligning with organizational requirements, organizational vision and goals? Because I get a feeling sometimes it's almost just there to keep people quiet. I don't know what you think, but I see this happening. Oh, look, just let them go on the course because they'll only moan about it later. What are your thoughts, guys? Do you see that approach anywhere, or are you genuinely lining up developmental opportunities with organizational requirements? What do you think? Is anybody there? You've all gone very, very quiet.
Just, Alan, if you allow me to share about the topic and overall that I have, for example, an example of being, for example, a project organizations and later on moving to an operational organization. So I recall that I joined with one of the international organizations during the project phase. So the reward strategy was really aligned with the business strategy, where they in the project phase, they need to make sure that the skills required, the payment required, the type of people, the competencies, and all of that is required for that project is really aligned with the strategy of the organization to achieve that project within time frame and without, you can say, with the minimum risk. So it worked very well. And later on, because they didn't work it very well, that they didn't align the business strategy with the reward strategy, moving from a project phase organization to an operational mode, they lost a lot of people because they really were not really ready to the next stage. So the reward strategy was not really planned well or aligned with the business strategy. So another competitor came, and based on that, the competitor took most of the talent and competent people, and they then realized that what they did is a big mistake, and they really worked again back to check the competencies, the skills, the career progressions, and all of that, to make sure that they minimize the turnover rate and they move forward.
So they did.
I don't know if this is a good example.
They did recognize the issues and they actually made changes, you're saying?
Yes.
Good. Good.
But a little bit late, but yes, they did recognize that. Yes.
We have a saying in the UK, bolting the door after the horse has run away.
Yeah. But it cost them a lot. It cost them a lot because here in Oman, I will say that in well engineering is really the critical part, or there is scarcity of such calibers in the market, and they are really needed in you can say within the oil and gas industry in Oman. So they lost most of them. Yes, and they later on they recruit other people who are, you can say, they who requested higher salaries, higher benefits just to join the organization. Where those who trained and they developed them, they left and they lost. I will say, I recall that we were calculating, it was lost of almost 500 K, which is equivalent to, I will say, 700 almost, or 1 million almost euro.
It's an expensive game if we get it wrong. Excellent. Mariam, what about you? Have you had any examples of this misalignment?
Actually, this year we are introducing a new business model of the direct sales team, the outsourced agents for the selling credit cards and loans and banking products in general. We didn't have this for the past 40 years. We were depending on the RMs and the branches. So we tailored for them a new incentive scheme. They will not be entitled to profit sharing or exceptional bonus. They will be entitled to a salary and an incentive scheme based on their KPIs, how they achieve, then they will be granted incentives only. So this is new for us. Took a while to tailor it, but it's already there. We started.
It makes sense, though, Mariam, that you have a very targeted reward program, because unless it can be very, very expensive if everybody's getting bonuses willy-nilly.
Yes. So we implemented this. Actually, it's a brand new model for us, starting this January.
Excellent. It'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah.
Well done. And you've been involved in that program?
Actually, I'm hiring these people. I meet them and I discuss with them their packages and the incentive scheme and everything. I did not tailor the rewarding program. It was the compensation team with the business line managers. But I'm selecting the people for the job and then sending them to the external company to hire them.
Got you. Excellent. Thank you, Mariam. Thank you. Faiza, are you back with us now? Please tell me that you're back with us. Faiza, can you hear me? Did you get any answer, Farhan, off Faiza? Can't hear you, Farhan.
No, not yet. She didn't reply.
Okay, thank you, mate. Thank you for trying. No reply, Bada. Thanks for trying, guys. I appreciate that. It's a little bit concerning. I hope she does come back. But let's carry on, mate. Let's carry on. Okay, thank you, guys. Thank you. Let's have a look at the. We're going to have a breakout discussion. Now I'm going to put you into two groups, and this is what we are looking at, guys. Okay, so which reward goals, when designing the company reward strategy, would be most critical for a high growth technology company? I'll be giving that question to one group, and then which reward goals when designing the company reward strategy would be most critical for a non-profit company like Red Crescent or Red Cross. The last bit, which goals would you value most, we'll have a discussion after the session, but I'm going to break you up into two groups, okay? I'm going to have Farhan, I'm going to have Hussein, Mariam, Bada, and Abdullah. That's on one. Then it's going to be Talal, Karina, Leanne, and Sama, and Munira. Okay, Faiza, are you back with us? No, okay. Now I'm going to pick a lead. So we've got a leader for each team. And in this case, it's going to be Farhan, you're going to be leading your team. And Talal, you're going to be leading your team. Are you happy with that, guys?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, Talal, are you happy?
Yes, fine. Thank you.
Okay, good. Right, I'm going to set up the two rooms, guys. I'm going to put you in there. Talal and Farhan, make sure, Farhan, I want you to look at the technology company. And Talal, I want you to look at the non-profit company. So basically the question is, what would be the most useful, critical, effective reward goals dependent on those companies and those sectors? So are you happy with what you need to do, Talal, Farhan? Good?
Yes, clear.
Excellent. Okay. So Farhan, you've got the high tech, and Talal, you've got the non-profit. Guys, I'm going to put you into the rooms and I'm literally going to leave you there for about 15 minutes and I'll come in and we'll see how you're doing. So let me set up the rooms, guys. Okay, guys, I'm going to open the rooms, carry on with the little discussion. Farhan and Talal, I'd like you to take some notes down so we can discuss when we come out of the rooms and you can give me your findings then. All happy with that? Lovely. Thank you, Farhan. You okay with that, Talal?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Right then, guys, I'm opening the rooms and I'll be in about 15 minutes. See how you're doing. Thank you, guys. Pfizer, can you hear me? Pfizer, can you hear me?
Below, the box below, strong retention plans.
Here or
I
here?
think retention is a product.
Anywhere you
of
can
total
add it
reward
as a
system.
third one, intrinsic, extrinsic, and the third one is a strong retention plan. Strong retention plans.
Okay.
Retention can be either intrinsic or extrinsic.
How are we doing, guys?
Yes, we are doing fine. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're achieving the perfect reward strategy, I'm sure.
Definitely.
Trying to. Yeah.
We will get it copyrighted.
You've got to get it
Getting caught.
copyrighted. Tell you what, I want to be in on that, Bader, because we can all retire then, yeah?
We
Sure.
can sell it to CIBD, for example, if they want it.
Why not? Why not? We could be all millionaires by this time next year. Who knows?
Are we clear now? Is this enough, team?
Strategic retention plan, yes. Career progression. And Mariam, could you
Yeah.
please expound a little? What could be there in the strategic retention plan?
I'll
Because
come back
it's
in and
part
see
of
you
the
in a few minutes, guys.
Okay,
Thank you,
great.
guys. How are we doing, guys?
Hello, hi, Alan. We're doing good. We're doing good. Yeah,
Doing good?
yeah.
Excellent. How is the discussion going? Is it lots of arguments, or are you all pretty much on the same path?
Actually, good points, I would say. Everyone has a interesting addition to, especially it's a non-profit organization. I found it first of all when we started a bit challenging, but the flow started to come through nicely.
Interesting. So why do you think, what's the main issues, do you think, with a non-profit organization then?
The limited budget.
Business model is different. Yes,
Sorry, Leanne?
I believe because their business model is kind of different. So they are not here to generate revenue and profits as what we are used to. So that's the interesting bit. And Karina raised a very good point on, if you want to expand on it, Karina, saying that still people are getting paid. So even though they are working on a non-profit organization, they still have to be compensated and rewarded.
Yeah, so I think many a times people associate non-profit volunteering and being associated with a social cause, but it's very important to understand that they're as an employee as any other organization, but are driven passionately for the cause, but very much get paid as employees. So need to have reward strategies as any other employee would. However, the salaries and skills may differ from corporate jobs, so their variable benefits or non-monetary benefit strategies have to be very, very strong.
Yeah. Do you know, it's really interesting, guys. We'll talk about this a little bit when we come out, okay? Because there's a lot of interesting information about non-profit organizations. Yeah. Okay. I'll leave you carry on working, guys, and then when you are ready, can you just give me a signal? Just click the button, come into the room, and then we'll close the rooms down, but only when you're ready. Okay, guys?
Yeah, sure. So are we going to return to the main room?
Well, I'll leave you in this room right now, but when you're ready, Talal, just give me a call in and then we'll close the rooms, okay?
Yeah, sure.
Well done, guys.
All right.
How did that go, Farhan?
It went well.
Yeah? Good team?
Yeah, good team.
Excellent. We'll just wait for everybody to come back now, and then you can give me a little presentation on what your findings were. Okay, guys. you're all back in. Can you all hear me okay? Just give me a nod, give me a thumbs up that you can all hear me. Sama, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Excellent.
I was out of the whole application.
Good, good. I can hear you as well, which is brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah, I changed my mic. I changed it.
Oh, super. Well done. Thank you, Sama. Thank you. Excellent. Leanne, can you hear me okay? Bada, you okay?
Yes.
Super. Karina, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm fine.
Excellent, Bada. Thank you. Excellent. Okay. Mariam, are you okay then?
I am good. Thank you, Allan.
Good, good, good. Okay then. So what we're going to do, Fran, I don't know, how do you want to present this? Do you want to share your screen?
Yes, we do have a screen.
Cool.
And this is one slide which we have right now. Do you want me to explain it?
Yeah, bear with me. Bear with me.
Okay.
Let me just get your screen up. Excellent. Okay, yeah. So if you want to talk us through this, that would be brilliant. Thank you.
So the first thing which we discussed is about the requirement of a high growth company, and that to the technology company. We know that the AI based things are there, and different technologies, especially in the social media setup, they are coming up.
Yeah.
So the first thing is that we need the highly talented employees in different cadres. We need fresh graduates as well. We need people in the market as well, and we need experienced people as well. So this is the first thing, that different cadres would be required for this high growth company. And since the people from different areas, they are coming in, so we need to plan their succession plan, their career growth plan, so that they should stick with us. This is very important, because the talented people, they know which other company might be asking the same talent pool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we need to address this issue for our company. To address, coupled with that, we need the dynamic or flexible rewarding strategy, because every time once you face a challenge, you do not face a challenge from the business point of view, you face a challenge from the competitor's point of view as well. So if you are fixed with one reward strategy, which might hurt your strategic benefit, because you want to have that employee with you, so you cannot fix your reward strategy to one pool or to one set, which means that every time you need to revise it, maybe quarterly basis or half yearly basis, so that your reward strategy remains competitive. And another point which is required for high growth technology company is that you must have a talent pool. For example, if somebody leaves, you should be able to employ other person as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So you need to have a talent pool in different cadres from different experience base or knowledge base.
Okay.
So one thing which I missed is that the Gen Z is coming in. They have different mindset. They have different thought process. They need the work-life balance. They talk more about their well-being. They talk more about their leisure time.
Yeah.
So we need to keep this thing in our mind while planning for the high growth company. Now, for the strategy reward goals, we believe that both the rewards, the intrinsic and the extrinsic rewards, they are going to help us. Plus, we need to have a strong retention policy as well. I'm going to describe that a little later.
Okay.
So in intrinsic reward, the first thing for any highly qualified person is it is very satisfying if he learns something new during the course of his tenure. If he learns something new in his career, in the environment. So we need to develop a complete pool where we can tailor the needs, the training and development needs of a particular person so that he should remain satisfied with his training and development needs. It is good for our organization as well. For example, if you are in AI and you you are lacking in that particular field, you want somebody to go from within your organization to get a higher degree, a PhD degree or a master's degree in AI and come back. So that is one issue, and smaller courses as well. So once he comes back, he should deliver that knowledge to his team or to the organization. And then comes to the employee well-being. As I said, that Gen Z is coming in, and these are the people who have extra requirement, not like me who wants a big paycheck, but they require that not only they are heard, but so their psychological well-being is there. They have flexi timings as well. They must have certain benefits in terms of family, for example, their hospitality charges and the schooling of their children, and the workplace benefits as well. For example, if there is a working woman and she has a little child, so intensive care, child care units within that, and their eating habits and other things that requires the mindfulness is one of the things which Google is employing a lot, so that their employees remain calm and cool within their environment. And they have developed their workplace such that it meets the requirement of every person. They do not have fixed cubicles for a person. You can pick up your mobile, you can sit on a beanbag, you can sit outside, you can sit in the sun. What they want, that at the end of the day, you are doing some job, you are doing, and within that time frame which is given and allotted to you. So this requires a complete knowledge set that what every person might be requiring, and you are providing that facility to that person. Career progression is very important for the young employees. They need to be told that if they stay with the organization, how they are going as far as their career path is concerned. For example, a young developer, how soon he would be leading a team, and what all or what do you call the abilities or the skill set he requires to reach that. And he should be told that within this time period, you might reach to this position, which is a very prestigious position. And so they require this career progression as well. As far as extrinsic reward is concerned, we believe that competitive total reward is required. Because the technology is it's booming, new things are coming up. You cannot stick to one thing extrinsically. So you need to have a competitive pay scale. You need to have certain profit sharing. You need to give them an idea of exceptional bonus, so that whosoever is performing more than and above than the others, he should be paid that bonus as well. So from every corner, you want that your talented employees should not go outside, because with their presence, the company could grow. And then there is a strong retention policy should be intact. One of my friends has given a good example. What does it mean? That for example, if there is a person with a good skill set and temporarily that skill set is not required for the company, but you cannot lose that person, because you could see that in, for example, 1 year's time, you might be requiring this skill set. So in order to have that person within your organization, you might allocate him certain other responsibilities so as to have him within the company, because you see that after 1 year or 2 years, you would be requiring that same skill set.
Yeah.
So the retention policy should be such, it should not be based on the exact business requirement of the day, but it should be strategic, so that if you are planning that in 2 years or 1 year time, you would be requiring this skill set, so you might not lose this person.
No, that makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah. Excellent. Thank you very much, Fran, and thank you for your team and their efforts. Fran, can you make sure this gets shared with the other guys? Yes. Everybody, yeah, everybody, not just your team, everybody. Lovely, thank you. If I can take the screen back now. Lovely. So Talal, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good, thanks.
Good. Do you have something you can share on screen, Talal?
Yes.
Okay, if you want to go for it, Talal.
Sure. Well, we didn't put it in in a PowerPoint.
No, that's okay. No, as long as you got the points, that's the main thing.
Yeah, we put it in. We like putting it in points.
Yeah, no worries. So you just explain through it now, Talal.
Sure. Well, actually, first, maybe normally whenever we think and when we deal with sort of profit organization, and that is almost our thinking now. Coming to this question, which is what with a non-profit organization, it really we had to think and it's really a very good exercise for all of us. It was really interesting. The team shared number of really good points over here. We would start by, for a non-profit organization, normally we need to think about a couple of points when we are designing a reward strategy, like the non-cash incentive. If we have gift cards, especially if you're going like, meeting people with autism, people in need, people are sick somewhere else, you need to reward sort of employees with such different elements like gift cards, gift tokens.
Can I ask you a question? So I'm a little bit confused here. So if we're talking about a non-profit organization, are you assuming that people working for them may have these issues?
Yeah, it was a bit confusing to us, but later on, Karina defined it to us, where the non-profit organization like the Red Crescent, actually 20%, let's say, those are not, we thought they are volunteers, but actually they are employees.
Oh yeah, they're employees, definitely. But what I'm asking, and what I don't think, I've worked with the, we call it the third sector, non-profit sector. I've worked with it. I don't think, so what I'm understanding there, the assumption is that some people, or a large amount of people working within the third sector may have disability issues or learning issues. Is that what your assumption is?
No, not necessarily, actually, because we've seen a number of videos from Red Crescent employees. Yes, some of them, yes, maybe a number of them with special needs. They are working, yes, but to be as a good ambassador of that organization, but also you find healthy people who are there.
Yeah. I would say, to be honest, the sort of percentage of people with learning difficulties or with disabilities within the non-profit sector is probably very similar to every other sector, you know?
Yeah, you'll find all type of people there.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, carry on, mate. Carry on.
Yeah. So when we design the reward policy, we should be sort of looking at number of elements, like also the second point, specific projects and special campaigns. Because we will be sending, as Red Crescent is sending number of employees to different parts of the world, to the developing countries. So they will be in specific projects, special assignments, special campaigns. So they need to have that sort of outstanding employee of the month, let's say. That would be a motivating non-cash value. And also the third point, maybe getting a sustainable funds and from places. Now, this is questionable here, but I think there is a sustainable fund with the Red Crescent, but in case they have extra fund, that would be very good to be utilized wisely. The fourth point, employee who manages to get fund from a charity will be, let's say, rewarded specially, and will be rewarded through, let's say, variable pay. They might get special funds somewhere, so they should be really rewarded, those employees, so it can be utilized in those projects or campaigns, and enjoy extra paid leaves. Normally, with the this sort of non-profit organization, we need really to reward those employees. So if they are going outside for special campaigns, different parts of the world, they need to be rewarded. And we thought about paid leaves. So they should get extra leaves that to enjoy. Also, we thought about having those employees, they should have discounts and subscription aid from other local entities or even international entities. So they will be motivated being part and being part of this organization. Also, another point that we have in mind, and the MVM, which is most valuable member sort of feature. So we're thinking about most valuable member enrollment. Whoever is recognized as this sort of benefit, he will be enrolled in international conferences, prestigious gathering around the world. He will be really rewarded for such benefit. Also, we thought about promoting employees, personal businesses to reach out to wider group. Again, the shining employees, some of them might have personal businesses at work, or even they have their own projects or businesses, personal businesses. If he is really doing great job at this organization, he can be linked with wider social view, so even to the organization, so people can get to know about this project, and it will help the employee who's working in this, and it will help him even personally, financially and non-financially. We thought about also getting into wider connection and network, like there are some people really would be interested to have to wider their network. So being in the Red Crescent, they will be really able to get network from all over the world. Like the example that we got from the group by Munira is like they are working in one organization, and they managed to get a representative from Obamacare. So the one who was really a part of that project, they brought him, they had that network with him, they learned from him. So that is a good example for expanding the network. And there are really people who will be very much interested in this. Again, another point is new locations, new projects that would motivate people to travel. Some interest for some people to travel around the world. That's really a motivating factor. So maybe it can be embedded in the boarding strategy in a way, and to move him from place to another where it is needed. Also, another good important point, which is family benefits or family insurance, as employees will be away from their homes, from their loved ones, from their families. They need to feel safe with their, so they need to be sort of psychological assistance and security to their families in a way. So they should be really very much entitled. They should feel this sort of benefit. performance bonuses, we know it's a non-profit organization, but we thought about really, again, it's going to be a game changer if we are going to introduce this, because normally it can really motivate the staff, and there should be a clear segregation between charity fund and the salaries paid to employees and the performance bonuses in a way. Also, we thought about why not investing in locally, or even why not even internationally, to get more funds that will be, of course, there should be very clear criteria how to be used, and it will give us more fund and more sustainable to the organization. So this is what we came out with the group.
Okay, Allan, thank you. Yeah, guys, well done, both teams. Well done, really good, really good. I think, Talal, and it's an awkward one, this third sector, this non-profit organisations. I just want to highlight something. I think I wasn't sure if it was. Are we missing somebody? And Munira. Yeah, there's a couple of comments there reference, what goes on in these organisations. Munira, have you had any experience with non-profit?
Yes. So basically, I'm a member in one of the non-profit organizations here in Oman called Knowledge Oman. Basically, one of the aims of this committee is to spread knowledge all over Oman, bringing expertise from different locations and conducting some sessions, knowledge sharing sessions, basically. So of course, they are not paying us, so it's just a part-time volunteer job, basically.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Right, guys, a lot of people think, and sometimes it's true, and the smaller organizations, it's generally true, that non-profit organizations don't have a lot of money. Generally, smaller ones don't, smaller ones struggle. They rely on grants and money from the governments. They rely on fundraising, and it's generally quite tight. I worked with a very small organization myself. Money is always an issue, and they're always hoping that they're going to get the same grant next year. And if it doesn't come, it can be quite, it could close the organization. The bigger ones, and we've talked about Red Crescent and Red Cross doing very similar things in different parts of the world. Red Cross is European-based, Red Crescent is Middle East and Africa-based. Guys, I've worked in Africa, and I've come across the Red Cross in particular, and they're one of the most cash-rich organizations I've ever come across. They've got a huge amount of money. It's all legal. They've got to follow legal requirements. They're very, very closely watched by the government and by financial industry. But it doesn't mean that they haven't got money. They pay people very, very well. They have bonus schemes, especially for their fundraisers and business development type people. And just to give you, for instance, for every £1, so £1 British pound, that is donated to the Red Cross, only 31 pence. So out of 100 pence, only 31 pence actually goes to the good causes. That means 69 pence is taken up with running the organization. So 2/3 of the money that's actually donated to the Red Cross is taken up in running the organization. Now, they're not allowed to make a profit, but that doesn't mean that they can't pay their people very well and give them bonuses. So it's very much like a normal business, but with a few caveats. So don't always consider third sector or non-profit organizations as being very, very different. The bigger ones definitely are. The smaller ones still have to pay people. They have to pay people in line with legal requirements within that country that they're working in. There are bonuses, there is money there. The smaller ones will struggle all the time, and they will be reliant on grants and that funding, you know, from the public. So guys, really interesting discussion. Again, Talal, can you make sure this is shared around everybody, please? And that'll be great. Thank you. Well done, guys. Well done. Good, good. If I can just take the screen, guys. There we go. So okay. Guys, what time? You mentioned lunch break. What time are we going for lunch? Because it really suits you guys. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
guys?
up to the team, I guess.
Yeah,
They
so
usually decide.
shall we make that decision now then, guys? What do we agree to, you know, for our dinner break or lunch break? What time are we looking for? What would be best for everybody?
We used to have it actually from now 30 minutes at 12 o'clock in our timing.
So 12 o'clock your time?
Yeah, because it will be the break time and also the lunch break.
Yeah. Okay, so is that okay with everybody? 12 o'clock to start our lunch break?
Yeah, okay.
For
me, it's fine. I'm happy with anything.
Okay, Fran, excellent. So what time is it with you now, Sana?
Now it's 11:30, so after 30 minutes.
11:30. So if we go to lunch in 30 minutes time, is that okay with everybody?
Yeah.
Yes,
fine.
sure.
Excellent. Good. And that was easy. So our lunch will be, that's going to be 9 o'clock UK time.
It's
and
going
how
to be breakfast
long?
For you.
Sorry?
It's going to be breakfast for you, I guess.
It's going to be breakfast for me. Yeah, it's going to be breakfast for me. Now, how long do you normally have, guys? How long do you normally have off for lunch? 45 minutes?
45 to 1 hour.
Okay. Are we okay with 45 minutes, guys?
Yes, good.
Yes.
Yeah, and then probably over the next couple of days, we're a bit more flexible, but today's quite a full day. So we'll go off in half an hour, so 9 o'clock UK time, and we'll go off for 45 minutes if that's okay with everybody, yeah?
I think yes, because for us today is Saturday, so we have to drive back to the capital, so to attend work tomorrow. So as much as we finish earlier, that is important.
So the quicker the better, Hussein, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, mate. Okay, lovely. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Okay, super. Good work, guys. Good work. Really impressed with that. So when we look at it on screen now, guys, we're looking at this summary. So what we need to be thinking about, and you need to be taking these notes, is what do we use reward for? Recruit and retain talent, reward high performers, and support business goals, yeah? Widespread acknowledgement that there's no right way to manage pay, and different things work in different ways. And that's when it comes around to knowing your employees, knowing their needs, understanding the needs of different generations and what is important to them. Individual contribution merit is now the dominant factor in determining pay progression. Skills-based pay continues to decline, and regional rates are growing in popularity. Many organizations claim a total reward approach, and we understand what that is. That is monetary and non-monetary reward. I'm going to ask you something, guys, and it's just something that I think is important, and I think it's going to be an issue in the very near future. We know that Gen Z is different. Millennials were different, but they weren't quite as demanding, I think, as Gen Z. I think we got to be careful that by looking at well-being, by looking at keeping people comfortable, keeping people happy, that we don't fall into the area where organizations are being held to ransom because of certain generational requirements. And I really mean that. I think it's becoming very, very difficult in some areas. And it's only just starting, but I think this is going to become a big thing where Gen Z are going, and I don't mean this as a negative thing, I just think it is the way this generation is. They're very socially aware, they're very aware of their own power. We have to be careful that Gen Zs are not given the power to control organizations. Hussein, do you want to add something there?
I can see what you are really viewing in the next future.
Yeah.
I think the new generation is looking to the organization as an organization of social responsibilities, is not a business to be run.
Yeah.
And they really don't really take, they are not really giving a big matter to the legal, to the employment contracts. They are looking more than that.
Yeah.
They don't view the organization as there is a legal documentations, a legal, you can say, relation between me and between this organization, and we are working to, because of within that boundaries.
Yeah.
They are looking far than what is we have now in our system. So they are looking that we take care even outside the work.
Yeah.
They are expecting us to do something for them, even in their families, everywhere.
Yeah. And guys, you know, this can be really expensive. And I think there are organizations that are risking their future, or will be, based on the idea that we got to keep everybody happy. And I think it's very important to know and accept that maybe we can't keep everybody happy, because it just might be too costly and too time consuming. Now, that's my thoughts, and maybe I might be wrong, but it's something to keep in mind, guys. Something to keep in mind. Anybody else want to comment on that? No? All happy? Good. Okay. So on screen, guys, just something to consider now when you're looking at this subject. What are the main objectives of employee reward from an employer's point of view and an employee's point of view? What are we actually paying for? What are we getting? Are we now at a position where all we are getting is people staying with the company? So it's not really a reward bonus anymore. It's not a productivity or a performance bonus. It's just maybe bribery to keep people with us, because we're too scared to lose people. So we're going to bribe them with a few more gifts. I don't know. I think that's the wrong way to go. I still think we need to be in a meritocracy. I still feel that people should be rewarded on what they produce, not just what they believe they're entitled to. Am I wrong? Somebody tell me I'm wrong.
You are totally correct.
Yes, you are right. You are right, Allan.
Sorry, Sama?
We can say you are wrong. We already having that kind of issues within our organization.
Yeah, it's a bit worrying. It's a bit worrying, but something to look at in the future, guys. Okay, well done.
We don't have to wait for the future. It's happening from now.
It's happening now. Yeah, you're right.
Struggling is we don't know how can we fight for this, because the problem. I'm sorry to interrupt. Sorry, Mr. Allan. Sorry, but when you were asking about the employer and the employee point of view, I remember that the employer is thinking that why I have to give a reward. I'm already paying the salary for him. But once we have an issue and we have a high turnover, they give the rewards, or they implement some recognition programs just to keep us within the company. Yeah. So otherwise, they think why we have to give. From the other side, the employees, they think no, it's not fair. We should be compensated. We should be recognized. We should be rewarded. And so, it's actually something I'm struggling with maybe with all the companies I was working with.
Yeah.
Owners, they have something, HR has something, and until now, nothing is clear for anyone.
Yeah, yeah. I feel that the word meritocracy, so people are earning dependent on how good they are, I think that is being forced out in preference for political correctness. And I think that's a bad thing. I think that's a bad thing. But it's an interesting discussion, guys, and it's an interesting way to look forward as to how do we handle this. Because we can't give everybody bonuses, we can't give everybody rewards, but with the sensitivity maybe of the younger people coming in, they'll see that as a very challenging, well, why haven't I got a reward? Well, you didn't work as hard as them. Well, that shouldn't come into it. You know, I'm here, I'm a person, I've got feelings, well-being. And I think it's something we really, really have to look at now before it becomes a huge issue, but it is becoming an issue already. But good discussion, guys. Good discussion. Well done. Well done. Okay, so we're going to be going to lunch in 15 minutes. So let's have a quick start now on AC 1.3. Critically, now you are fully aware, I'm sure by now, of how important these first words are with CIPD. So this is the action verb, critically justify. So critically means that we need to really look at this in quite some depth. Critically justify the value of reward benchmarking exercises and the main methodologies organizations use to gather data. Now, Mariam, you've already said you've had some experience in this benchmarking area. Is that correct?
Yes, a little bit, Alan.
Yeah. Okay. So can you explain, Mariam, I'm not wanting to put you on the spot, but can you explain what we mean by reward benchmarking? What does that actually mean on a real sort of practical basis?
So I think you have to have one methodology in the market to evaluate the value of different jobs. And there are big names in the market like Hay, Korn Ferry. They have their methodology where you evaluate the job in terms of know-how, problem solving, and accountability. So it's a kind of formulas that you put. So you have a reference level for each job. Then you compare what the reference level you have reached with the market benchmarking set by the company, Hay, Korn Ferry. So you know the entry level salary and the mid and the maximum salary for each function. So I believe most of the organizations worldwide use this methodology with the same evaluation process to benchmark their packages so they can be compared to the market practice.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much, Mariam. Appreciate that. Thank you. Right, so let's have a look then, guys. So if you can see on screen now, guys, we've got the objectives of reward system, yeah? From an employee's perspective, purchasing power, competition, felt fair. Now, felt fair, that's an interesting concept now, that everybody needs to feel that they've been treated fairly. And this is what we were just talking about. This is becoming a bigger thing in all organizations. That goes against rewarding people on merit, which I don't agree with. Life isn't fair, the world isn't fair, and business isn't fair. If you don't put the same effort in, then why should you be rewarded the same as somebody that does put a lot of effort in? I really struggle with this, I really do, and it just might be that I'm too old for this business world, I don't know. So right to fair pay, yeah, legal requirements, motivation, performance, cost, internal and external relativities, recognition, composition. And an employer perspective, prestige. I don't think it's only prestige, guys. I think employers get a lot more than that out of a reward system. I think they get increased productivity, they get increased engagement, better satisfaction, better retention, better internal promotion. So there's a lot more going on, I think, and I can understand that the prestige is coming into it. But when we look at it as a whole, there is a big part to play with a reward system within all organizations, yeah? So what are organizations paying for? It's an interesting question, guys, and I think we need to have this discussion. So I want to ask you guys, in your own organizations, and don't forget, CIPD always want you to relate back to your own organizations. When we look at a reward strategy, what are you expecting and what are you getting in reality? Who wants to sort of jump in on that?
Can I go ahead?
Of course you can. Of course you can.
Yeah. So organizations are paying for, it's not only that they needed somebody to work for, there are other jobs which are niche skills, kind of. So you are paying for that, and normally you either pay them higher than others, or you give them like specific kind of allowance for that scarcity kind of jobs. So
Okay.
So you have scarcities, you have niche skills, you have critical jobs. So those are from my own point of view, are the three major, let's say, jobs that the companies normally, or organizations normally, pay more than other kind of skills, because you really need them, and without them you will not be able to perform well.
Right. So from your point of view, one of the main things that we are paying for is to get those key skills that we literally cannot live without. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Brilliant. Brilliant. Leanne, you got something to add to that?
Yeah, so from my perspective, I would say that I think myself and everyone would expect fair pay. But when it comes to reality, you take exceptions for this person and then exceptions for that person. So because we're in HR, we kind of see these things, unfortunately, but you have to stay quiet, because when you are working in that field, you need to respect the confidentiality of these things. So sometimes you can see things that are not really nice, but you cannot say, oh, why is that happening? Why is that happening? This will result in not respecting the confidentiality of your job. So you would be in that dilemma of saying things that are not fair, but at the same time you have to respect the confidentiality. So that's the tough part, actually.
Okay.
So yeah.
So Leanne, what you're saying is that if we see an unfair practice, is that what you mean?
Yeah, you cannot always pinpoint that, oh, that's unfair, because they would come back saying, okay, since you're in HR, you have these kind of information, so you used it in your favor. So,
right.
That could be, I think that's one of the major challenges in HR, not only for myself, I believe for many HR professionals.
Okay, that's interesting. No, I would take a slightly different view, I must admit, Leanne. I think it's our duty to challenge things that we don't feel are right, even though we've got that particular access that probably nobody else in the organization has. And I can understand there's a dilemma with especially pushing upwards when you see maybe a manager not really doing what they should be doing, or if you see somebody rewarding somebody just because they're their friend, or they get a better bonus because they're a family friend, maybe, it happens. It happens all around the world, Leanne. But do you not think that as HR, we are the role model of the organization, and we should be leading by example and picking and highlighting these things up?
That's right.
I know it's difficult. It's difficult.
I think, Alan, in that sense, it would depend on, I think, the seniority level and the area that you're in. So currently I'm in recruitment. Maybe if I was head of rewards within my organization, I think things would be different, I would
yeah
think.
yeah okay,
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And again, there's that process that if you're at a particular level and you felt something wasn't working, there's always that mechanism where you can pass that up to the chain to an area where they can have an influence.
Correct, 100%.
Yeah, no, that's great, Leanne, thank you. Farhan, you want to add something to that, my friend?
Yes, just a few points. In organizational psychology, what I have studied is that organizations are paying for the good work. And the good work means that the employee is justifying its position for its existence within an organization. And in one of the book I've read, they mentioned Martin Luther King as referring to the position of a janitorial, how he should be behaving and believing. But this is a theoretical or academic part of it. In real life, there is a balance between the two. The organization have to see how much they can leverage their authority and how much they have to pay to an employee. On the other hand, the employee has the responsibility to see how much he can contribute within an organization. So it's a bit challenging from both angles. And it is very difficult to satisfy one party or the other.
If we could do that, then we'd be earning millions, because I think that's the question. Everybody, how do we keep everybody happy for us? And you're right, I think it's impossible, to be honest. I think it's absolutely impossible. I think the main area there is communication, being very clear with how bonuses, how reward is handled, the policy, trust, allowing the employees to see that you're actually following that policy and that it is transparent and it is fair. And even if that person then isn't getting a bonus, they can understand why they didn't get a bonus or why they didn't get a reward. So I think it's almost impossible to keep everybody happy. You're quite right. But as long as they understand why they didn't get a reward or why somebody else is getting a reward, I think you're 90% there to keeping a fair approach to it. Yeah. Anybody else got anything to add to this, guys?
Yeah, maybe if you allow me, Alan, for the main question, which is what our organizations are paying for. So from my point of view, I think even if I'm going to let's say recruit one candidate, there should be a reason why I'm recruiting this candidate, and there should be, as an organization, I would pay for his added value, service, or benefit to me as an organization. And because why I'm recruiting him, because I want him maybe to take me as an organization from, let's say, from point B to point A. So that's really value added, should be there from the beginning, and should be always a strive also for the employee to be motivated and be self-driven and so forth. That also will make sense to him.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense, guys. Okay, excellent. Thank you, guys. Good input again. So, features of an effective reward strategy. They have clearly defined goals and well-defined links to business objectives. Key point. All our goals for every employee, every manager, every level must be aligned with business objectives. Well-designed pay and reward programs tailored to the needs of the organization and its people. We've spoken about this. When we look back at Maslow's, we need to understand the needs of employees so that we can reward in the way that suits them. If we can do that, and it is a big job and it isn't easy, but if we can reward and match that reward to the requirements of the individuals, then the satisfaction rates are even higher. Yeah, but it's not an easy job, guys. Based on corporate values and beliefs, totally. It's got to be an ethical approach, yeah? Flows from the business strategy, congruent with the culture and the internal and external environment of the organizations. Fram, you mentioned this, that no matter what we want to do inside an organization, it still has to link, and it will be, what's the word? It will be influenced by external cultures and the culture of the organization. Linked with business performance, has been evolved with consultation with key stakeholders. Guys, this is what we need to put in place if we want a successful and effective reward strategy. Yeah. Does anybody want to add something to that, or does anybody want to challenge something in there? No, you've all gone very quiet, guys. Are you still there? Can you hear me? Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Beep, 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 beep.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
we
Yep.
are.
Yes.
Right, guys.
One comment from my side. I think while we are designing the organization and the organization strategy, we miss to include the reward strategy part of it. And that is the issue, that our reward philosophy is not really aligned with the future or mission or vision of the organization. By that, we discover later on there is a lot of elements of our reward strategy is not really supporting the organization moving forward.
Right. That's
interesting. That is a really big issue. While if it is really we understand our philosophy of rewarding philosophy and we linked it with the business, moving forward, it will help a lot to grow and to support the business to sustain and retain and you can say have talent within the organization.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you very much for that comment. Abdullah?
Thank you. Just I want to add to what Hussein said. An example happened with us that in fact we are under a government company. So the government has directed the companies to stop any things that given to the employees a part of their salaries. So no, let us say financial reward or recognition.
Wow, okay.
When this direction has been implemented, in fact, the management of the companies, they got shocked. What to do now? We have nothing to give to our employees.
Yeah.
So just at that time, they started to think with the alternatives, what to give to the employees. In fact, I can say it is too late because some of the employees has already left.
Yes, yeah.
But for the future, I think, again, referring to Hussein points, that it should be for a long term under any circumstances. There should be something ready. Just later on, we thought about non-monetary reward, which is, again, is not satisfying every one of the talents. So yeah, it works in a very minimum level, but again, some people, especially the young generation, looking for something different than the non-monetary reward. Again, we should have a very long term under different circumstances.
Yeah.
So we can be ready at any point of time. That's my participation.
Excellent, thank you. I think what we're saying, guys, is that even the best reward strategy needs to be reviewed. Not every 10 years, every 2 years, maybe every year. We need to make sure that we are keeping up with the expectations of our new workers coming in. But I still feel we've got to be careful that we're not directed by the requirements of younger generations or the supposed needs and demands of certain areas within the organization. So I think we've got to be very, very careful, guys, very careful. But good discussion, guys. It's now dinner time for you. It's breakfast time for me. Come back in 45 minutes. Don't be late, guys. Thank you very much for your time so far. Appreciate it. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So there is a full chapter, about the labor unions within the labor law within Oman.
Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. I remember there were some. I wasn't sure how widespread they were, you know. But that's great. That's great. Obviously, in the UK, if you're reading the international news, guys, or watching it on TV, we've got unions, and they are causing lots and lots of problems right now. We have so many unions going on strike, and it's a big issue. The railway workers, the nurses, for the first time in their history, have gone on strike. Doctors have gone on strike. Ambulance drivers are on strike. People in the ports are going on strike. Civil servants in the government are going on strike. Everybody's going on strike. So it's really causing a lot of problems. Some of them are justified, in my opinion. Others not quite so justified. But it's interesting, in the UK, the unions are very politicized as well. So the unions would be very much on the side of what we call the Labour politics, so the left-wing politics. And in the moment, we have the Conservative in power, which are the right wing of politics. So you could say that maybe all these strikes are just a political way to change the government, and that has been done before in the UK. And it's a little bit annoying if that's true, because people vote for the government in the UK. We don't want unions deciding who's going to be running the country. But it's very interesting, guys. So you're familiar with the collective bargaining, which means that the unions will make pay deals on behalf of all their members, which could be thousands and thousands. Worth of job, which is an interesting point. Conditions, external factors, conditions of the labour market, area and local wage rates, legal requirements, cost of living. So something to take into consideration now, guys. At the moment, inflation is going up, cost of living is going up. Inflation in the UK is over 10%, which is, we haven't had inflation like this for about 50 years. Our inflation has been very, very low, under 2% actually, for many, many years. And now we've got over 10%, partly because of the Russian war, partly because of Brexit, partly because our government's rubbish. So a lot of things affecting us. What's the inflation rate out in your countries, guys? Anybody got any idea?
It's already 21 here in Egypt.
21%.
Yes, wow. It was 7% a couple of years ago, and it became 21. We have a serious issue here.
Wow, that's a high interest. So that must be affecting organizations and recruitment and pay, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's a lot. That's a lot. What about
we have about we have approximately 30% now, okay, after the regime change, right, and the poor economic condition. Many factors are there. The political instability is there. Yeah. Economics is halted down. The factories are shutting down. Right. Right at this moment, Pakistan is facing a lot of economic trouble. Yes, so approximately 32% is the inflation rate right now.
Wow, no, that's difficult. That is difficult. Thank you, Farhan. No, that's hard. Anybody else, guys? Anybody from the Emirates? What's the inflation like there? Anybody?
In Oman, I can say it is between almost 2.
Okay.
Lower than 1.9, something like that.
Okay, so you're doing very well right now then.
Yeah.
For us, it's 3.2 in the UAE.
Okay, so again, doing very well. Well done. And I think that's being helped by increase in oil prices, increase in the need for natural gas, that type of thing. Yes, guys?
True.
Yeah.
Subsidy, government subsidy as well.
Government helping out as well. Yeah, good. Okay, excellent, guys. Thank you. So it's interesting, you know, the UK is not doing particularly well, but there are other places, Egypt, Pakistan, that have been impacted even higher. Farhan, can I ask you? Yes, there are internal factors leading to this, but do you think the Ukraine situation is affecting it as well?
In the political sense, yes, but we are not directly impacted due to the war over there. But in political sense, yes, because you know about the two poles, the USA side and the US and European side, the NATO, and this the old Warsaw Pact and the Russian side. So in 2022 April, our previous prime minister, he visited Russia, and certain agreements were made over there. And after that, political instability increased, and which led to the downfall of the previous government. A new government was instituted, and the new government sided with the USA side. But USA didn't help us in that sense, and our economy since then, we had about $17 billion in our external kitty, which is reduced to now $6.7 billion, barely minimum. So from the political angle, yes, it has impacted us a lot. Yeah. Okay, thanks, Anna. That's interesting. Thank you. Okay, guys, so cost of living is going up. Local wages in local areas are being forced up. The whole market is under pressure. People need more money to buy food because food's more expensive, fuel is more expensive, energy costs have gone up. Employers' ability to pay. I think this is where we hit the problem. Because there must be a finite point where companies say, I haven't got any more money. We just can't do this anymore. We can't increase pay. We can't increase bonuses. We can't increase reward. What do you think is going to happen at that point, guys? Are we going to see loyalty from employees, or are they just going to go elsewhere? What do you think, Mariam?
Actually, Alan, we had a special increase for the inflation issue last year by September, I believe, or October. They raised all our salaries with a certain percentage, different from different levels, to cope with the inflation thing. And I think we will be having another one this year.
Right. Well, okay. So from your point of view, Mariam, your organization, your bank is actually making quite an effort to you safe. Yeah.
The management is really doing a great effort in this, supporting the employees and the circumstances we are facing, because it's terrible here.
I bet. Yeah. And I can understand. Yeah, I understand. But do you agree with me, Mariam? You know, even at a certain point, if things carry on getting worse, that the organization must get to a point where they say we can't really do anymore.
Yes, they might, especially if we couldn't achieve the targets, the business targets, due to the issues in the market. So I believe they would not be able to continue supporting the employees.
So what is interesting, Mariam, I'd like your opinion, as you've been sort of benefiting these sort of extra measures, does it make you feel more loyal to the organization?
Yes, of course, very loyal.
Yeah. So now, if somebody was to ask you, look, in return for all this, we need you to work an extra hour a day, would you be happy with that?
I already do.
You already do. Fair point. I'm just wondering, is that a generational thing? You know, that I'm wondering how the younger people would react to that. Well, you know, I've got the money, but what, you want me to to work an extra hour? I might be very just down on Gen Zs, I don't know, but I'm just wondering if the same reaction came.
I will tell you that our experience, they were very happy to have this increase, special increase for the circumstances for a couple of months.
Yeah.
Then they started to demand another increase and saying we cannot cope and the work is heavy and the market is challenging. So they were happy for a couple of months.
Okay.
And that's it.
That's something. It's a bonus.
Yes.
Excellent, excellent. Ah, dear me, dear me. Faiza, are you with us and can you hear us okay?
Yes, yes, I'm here.
Excellent, excellent. Good, good, good. Super, super. So guys, this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 C's of the reward system effectiveness. And there's a lot of stuff here, and it's something that you can work on. And Armstrong, Brown, Riley, it's a good reference. You need to look at read their stuff, get their information offline. So we got the system needs to be competitive, convergent with business strategy. We've talked about this, yeah. Contribution and performance reward. So not just the high performers, but people that are actually just doing the job and doing it well, but we don't always need to just reward the very high flyers. Do you know, people coming in and doing their job well, even if they're not flying high, even if they don't want to get promoted, they don't want to, be a high flyer, it doesn't make them less valuable. And we've got to recognize that. Not everybody wants to be a leader. Not everybody wants to be a high flyer. Some people are just comfortable doing their job and doing it well. And in that case, shouldn't they be rewarded? What do you think? Should we be rewarding people for doing their job, or is that why we pay people? That's their salary. Their salary is there to do the job. Rewards are there just for people who go way, way above and beyond. What do you think, guys?
If I can comment here, Alan, I do agree with you. You have majority of people who are staying in the organization and they are not leaving and they are competent and they are doing their job.
Yeah.
Normally you will reward those who have a quality job. Each and every them, they do the same role, but you can differentiate between those who are really providing a quality job, and you need to keep them within your team.
Yeah.
And even though if you see that they would like to leave, you will see that them leaving is a risk for the organization, because such people is the majority and they sustain the business, the continuities of the businesses.
Yes.
The high flyers.
You've just said the magic word, Hussein. A lot of these people give the organization continuity. They keep their skills, their experience comes through year after year, and that can be passed on to others, yeah?
Agree. And the risk is not from them to leave. The risk is from the high flyers, from the potential people, because you spend a lot of time educating them and they easy to be attracted by the market.
So there's an interesting saying from Richard Branson, and that is you train your people well enough so they can leave, and then you treat them well enough so they don't want to leave. So there's a balance there, you're saying, yeah?
Yeah.
Marianne, you got something you want to add there?
Yeah, I think you have to have a kind of matrix that combines the performance of the employees with their pay and extra payments. So if an employee meets the expectations, he should have a profit share of a certain amount related to his performance. If someone exceeds or far exceeds, you increase this. So it should be a matrix combining both performance with the payments.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. But then we're relying on quite a number of things. We're relying on people writing objectives properly, smart objectives, so that they can be measured easily and accurately. We're relying on line managers doing their job properly in measuring, assessing, and appraising people. Are we asking too much there, Mariam?
No, we are doing this. We are combining we have a strong performance appraisal system that is linked to the KPIs of each employee, and it's actually generated from the system. The line manager has a little to say in it. He has 20 or 30% of the total performance appraisal for the non-financial or the non-operational part to say his opinion. And this is linked to our annual compensation review.
Excellent.
It's a matrix. We have this matrix. Yes.
Thank you, Mariam. Yeah, excellent. Superb. Okay, so just going back around this wheel. So we're looking at customize. We've talked about this earlier. We need to make sure that the reward matches the employees. Again, that can be very difficult, but I think we need to do it. Commits, engages, and motivates employees. So yeah, we want people to be committed to the organization, and reward is a way of doing that. Communicated well and understood. I think this is a big, big one, guys. We've all got policies. We've all got reward systems. I'm not 100% sure that in any organization I've been involved with, everybody actually understands exactly what that system means. And I really mean that. I don't think it's generally covered well on induction or onboarding. I don't think it's a message that we really give very well. Mariam, have you got something you want to add?
Yes, sorry for interrupting.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Actually, we had the communication part was not clear for a while.
Yeah.
And then by the end of 2021, we had a new management, new CEO, who is younger with a fresh mind.
Okay.
So in each step of the annual compensation system, promotion, salary increase, or profit share, he sends from his personal email to all the employees a clear explanation for how did we measure and the percentage of the people who took above the 10% or below the 10%, and he sends a global statistic and explanation concerning the process that we are within right now.
Okay, that's really good. So you really got quite a good setup there, Mariam. Yeah.
Yes. Thank God.
That makes a change.
Yeah.
That does make a change. Well done. Good. Excellent. Okay, going back to the wheel. So it has to be cost effective, and in the situation we are right now with the financial environment, that is very important. Changes its response to needs, controlled, efficient, managed, and administered, compliant legally, and competitive externally to recruit and train. Guys, that's an awful lot to ask for a reward system, isn't it? And honestly, looking at your reward system in your organization, ask yourself, do we tick all these boxes? And I would honestly say, probably not. I don't think many tick all these boxes, but it'd be interesting to know from you how many you think you do tick. Yeah. Any questions on that, guys? Anything anybody wants to add?
I think it is really difficult to tick all of the boxes.
Yeah.
Looking to the type of business that you are running, the instability of your organizational structure, models, and strategy also.
Yeah.
And managing all of these and managing your total reward is really difficult.
Yeah.
And I think ticking most of the box will be I will not see it as feasible.
No, I think you're right. And the problem I think you're saying is that some organizations are literally just doing that. They literally are just box ticking just to fill a requirement and maybe not really committing to it. And I think that's just a waste of time in itself as well, you know. But no, guys, thank you very, very much for your input. And thank you, Mariam. There's lots of good information there. I appreciate that. So challenges of creating a strategy. Too much focus on financial incentives. Perks only apply to the office environment. That's a really interesting one, guys. I come from an engineering background. I've worked on aircraft for many, many years in my early industry. And you know what? People who carry tools and fix things and do dirty jobs They very rarely get bonuses. They very rarely get any reward system. They get a salary. They get overtime if they work longer. And they may get some sort of time-related or skill-related bonuses, but very, very rarely. So why do we look at manual workers and not think that they are as important and they don't need these type of rewards? Why do you think that is? Are they more robust? Is that sort of socio-economic level of people just more robust? They're not quite as needy. The fact that they work, in a manual environment just makes them tougher and less challenging and less demanding. I don't know. What do you think, guys? Very quiet. Very quiet.
I will chip in, Mr. Allan.
Go on, Bader.
We have one company here who responds to emergency situation. For example, if a pipe bursts right in the middle of the highway, then that company, they send a response team where they immediately try to control the situation.
Yeah.
Now, this company, I know for a fact that those engineers that are working on the ground, they are very highly paid because they are required to work in a stressful environment in a short period of time and implement their technical knowledge in the field.
Yeah.
Now, that for me, your example does not apply to this situation.
Okay.
But maybe because of the environment, of the work environment, requirement of the work, environment of the organization, that's a different story. Also, job scarcity and the availability of the talent in the market. Usually, technicians are available. You can find them anywhere, especially in our countries where we can have expats. Most of these jobs are done by expats.
Yes, yeah. Now, interestingly, Bada, as you said, most Middle East countries tend to rely on expats for very sort of high-end sort of manual jobs, technical jobs, etc. And I think that's changing in all countries now. The problem we have in the UK is young people aren't going into those jobs. So, the supply of expats is going to stop in the next couple of years because nobody in the UK and in America, young people don't want to get dirty. They don't, very rarely do they want to get into manual jobs. They don't want to be out in the rain. They don't want to be standing up to their thighs in mud. It's just not attractive to them. And we are having a massive issue in the UK now, trying to get enough apprentices to go into simple roles like carpenters, bricklayers, building industry. Anything technical is very, very difficult to get people to want to go into those areas now. Not because they are not particularly well paid, because some of these areas are very well paid. I just don't think it's the type of work that younger people actually want to get engaged in. I don't know if that's a similar situation in your countries, guys. What do you think?
If you may let me. Actually, it was just maybe before maybe a month. Do you remember when Saudi Arabia wins in the match recently, in one of the matches in Qatar?
Yeah.
On that game,
with Argentina.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Brilliant.
That day, actually, we got a royal orders and instructions that everybody will get the next day off. Yeah. Okay. The technical and the manual staff who are working in the field, they can't leave their jobs. They are working in machines. They can't leave the machine and get off. So they asked, "What about us? Are we forgotten or what?" Yeah. So we replied on them that we will check after we come back from the office. Yes. Right. And when we came back, we told them that we will check with the management if we can give it to you in another day as to be compensated. Okay. The management said no. The royal orders were clearly specific for this day. Why I have to give them another day off? And we got a lot of complaints from the people there. They are Saudis and expats all of them, they were complaining. Is that what we get because we are committing to the field?
Exactly.
It was a huge conflict.
I can totally understand, and I can totally appreciate where they're coming from. If one of those things we were looking at, that everything has to be fair, hasn't it? And it doesn't matter what your job is, you know, what industry you're in, what part of the organization you're working for. It should be across the board. You know, everybody should have the same opportunities to get promoted. Everybody should have the same opportunities to have a bonus. But for manual workers, this doesn't seem to work. Farhan, do you want to add something there, my friend?
Yes, coming back to your question regarding that young people are not in manual jobs in UK or USA, it's same here. Yeah. But I take it, why it is like this, to my understanding, the media or the technology is portraying a lifestyle which they dream of. And every person, every motivating lesson is that you can reach to the sky, but they're not motivating them that you can reach to the sky while doing some work. On the other hand, the media and the technology, the WhatsApp, the Facebook, the social media is portraying that somebody is earning millions. There's a new startup earning billions. Yep. Now, this has transformed their mindset that they really don't want to do that carpentry job, the electrician job, although in few occasions, at few places, these are highly paid jobs as well, but they do not really want to. I think we should blame that cultural thing as well, which is hurting us.
Without a doubt. Everybody wants to be an influencer now. And earn £100,000 a year for influencing, whatever that may be. As you said, the media in the UK, we've got so many of these talent programs like the X Factor and you know, Britain's Got Talent, and that's what young people are saying. Oh, hang on, I could become a singer, and I could earn thousands of pounds as a singer, not realizing that 1 in 5,000 actually ever make it. And yeah, I think the all expectations of a certain generation have been twisted completely because of social media, because of the general media. And yeah, I think you're right. Now, when I was coming out of school, the big idea was I come from a very industrial background in the UK. Everything around us was mining and steelworks, etc. So our big aim in life was, when we left school, was to get an apprenticeship. Now, become a toolmaker, become an engineer, become a builder, become a carpenter. And that's gone. That has gone. Everybody goes to university, which has now devalued degrees to quite a large point. Everybody's got a degree now, guys. You come out of school, and if you haven't got, you know, a very high degree, a 1-1, 1-2, I can't remember how it works now, you're not going to get a job. You go to McDonald's, and the person serving fries in McDonald's has got 2 degrees. They don't mean that much anymore. So it's quite a different shift in the way that we see things now, you know. It's interesting. So looking back at the screen, guys, don't focus on financial incentives. Perks only apply to the office environment. Why? Why doesn't the perks go right across the organization? Employees are not engaged in deciding the rewards. That, I think, is a big challenge, but I'm not sure many organizations in place to actually do anything about that. One size fits all approach is taken, and we know that one size fits all doesn't work. But again, how do we change this? How much effort, time, and money do we put into this when everything else around us is happening? Everything else is changing. Everything else is putting pressure on HR, on line managers. What level of importance do we put on these things, guys? Because we've only got a certain amount of hours in the day. Where does this come in your priority? And I think that's something that you need to be thinking about now. Where do we prioritize this? Where does this come on our list of things that we must do. And then think about, well, are we at the right place? Is it too high? Is it not high enough? Is this going to affect our organization in the future if we don't start putting effort into this? Can you all understand that, guys? Are you all happy with that? Anybody want a challenge? Anybody want to agree, or are we all happy where we are? Ooh, it's all quiet again. I'll assume that's a good thing, that we're all fairly happy where we are.
It is after lunch, Allan.
Sorry, Hussein?
It is after lunch, you know.
It's up to what, sorry?
It's after lunch.
It's after lunch. Yeah.
After lunch, get some.
Everything goes quiet after lunch, doesn't it? You're all sort of sitting there.
I just requested black tea, so maybe after that, moving forward for up to 5 o'clock.
Very good, Hussein. I take the point. I take the point. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, types of reward system. 2 main. Fixed payment systems, those that don't vary in relation to achievements, and then variable payment systems, those that vary in relation to results, profits, and performance. Fairly straightforward, because I got no doubt whatsoever that you're all pretty familiar with this, yeah? Fixed based on job time, which may involve hourly rates. This is generally for manual workers. This is how we see manual workers get paid. Weekly wages, they have the money in a little paper packet at the end of the week, maybe. That's not so common anymore. I mean, in the UK, everybody gets paid in the bank. Not sure what it's like in your countries, but I used to be a manual worker, and at the end of the week, I'd get a little brown envelope with my money in there, and I'd take that home and put it in the bank. Now everything gets paid straight into the bank. Day rates, hourly rates, weekly wages, or alternatively based on competence, qualifications, and experience, seniority. The main thing in the UK in manual working is seniority. If you've been there for a number of years, you will probably be promoted, you'll become a manager, and your income will go up. Generally, in manual working in the UK, manual workers in the construction industry, maybe in engineering, they tend not to be trained managers. They are made a manager because they've been there for a long time and they've got lots of knowledge and they're good at their job. And the actual idea of formally training managers is actually not seen as being important, which is a real issue because we have a lot of poor managers in these construction industries, where in the industries that we tend to work within, and I'm including the oil industry, which is slightly different because there's more compliance issues within the oil industry. We tend to recognize, in the bank industry in particular, we tend to recognize the need for qualified managers and managers who've gone through a certain level of training and development. So it's interesting, these different approaches, guys, to what a manager or what a leader is, you know? Variable payments, so piecework commission. Piecework means you get paid for every item you make or every hour that you're working on. A commission, if you sell more, you get higher commission. Measured day work, rewards according to formula output, small, large group incentives, profit sharing, cash-based, share-based. Variable systems, again, skill-based schemes, merit-based schemes. I mentioned earlier, I think merit-based schemes are now being frowned upon because they're being seen as not very politically correct. There's always this worry that in the environment and the social acceptance these days is, especially in the UK, and I know in the US, nobody's allowed to fail. There are no losers. Nobody's allowed to fail. We're all at the same level. That's what they're being told in universities. That's what they're being told in schools. So that when they come out into the real world, it's a big shock because you know what? There are losers. We're not all at the same level. There are people that will win because they work harder and they're better at their job. There are people that will lose because they don't put the effort in and they're not as good. And wow, can that be a shock for people, guys? So this merit-based schemes, I think, I hope they're not going to disappear, but I think there's a lot of political pressure on organizations to come away from that. And I think that would be a big mistake. I would think that would be a big mistake. What are your thoughts on that, guys? Do we go down, do we keep with the merit-based rewards, or do we go to the politically correct, we don't want to upset people, and let's make sure everybody gets a reward? What do you think?
I think it should be there. The merit base should be there. This is the only criteria, I think, once you differentiate between two people for a job.
Yeah.
How could, for example, in my country, people, they are getting the example which you have given of the McDonald's guy. People are getting MBA's degree. Every second person is holding a degree. But once you speak to them, once you ask them to write a report, once you ask them to compile fact and analyze them, they are standing at zero level. And they expect, because they have the MBA degree, so they should be posted as managers.
Yeah.
So I think the only criteria which differentiates a person is how much actually you have learned, and that goes to the merit thing.
Yeah.
And that is displayed, and then you got to pay on that. So I agree with you, even if it sounds politically incorrect. This is the thing which matters for the organizations.
Yeah, I agree with you, Farhan. Does anybody not agree? Does anybody think that we should just be not looking at the merits, not looking at the people that are working hard, but everybody deserves a bonus. Everybody deserves some sort of reward, because that's the nice thing to do. Does anybody agree with that? Ooh, again, very, very quiet. So let's have a show of hands then. If you agree that we should be giving rewards based on how people work, the effort they put in, their skills, the fact that they turn up on time, put your hands up on screen. Put your hands up on screen if you think we should have a merit-based reward system. Put your hands up now, please, or give me a thumbs up. Good, 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 good. So quite a few there, quite a few. Karina, how about you? Abdullah, what do you think? Excellent, excellent. Okay, so I don't think we're on the side of not having a merit-based situation yet. Okay, good. Well done, guys. Well done. Thank you. Thank you. Right, let's have a look. So we're talking about benchmarking now, guys. You can see on screen. You can put your hands down now, guys. Thank you. So we're talking about benchmarking, and this is something that Mariam mentioned very early on in the day. Benchmarking allows you to measure your organization's position in terms of benefits, offerings versus your competition. What are we doing compared to the competition? Are we at the higher level, or are we lacking behind? Because this benchmarking is so important, guys. And I'm going to ask you, why is it so important? Why is knowing where we are against the competitors, why is it so important for us?
Yes, Mr. I think it matters for us because, first of all, we need as an organization to know where we are in the market with our competitors. And second, to be sure that our staff, our talented staff, our team, our people, actually, let me say, they will keep belonging to us. They will feel that they are satisfied, loyal, and fine with us. We are the best, and we are with the range in the market. We are not far away from the market, and that way we can keep them. And most important, that they will be loyal to us.
If I may add to that.
Yeah, no, sorry. Thank you very much, Sam. I think you've hit the nail on the head. Well done. But Faiza, yeah, please come back to that.
Yeah, it's also by knowing where we stand and where is our position as organization, we will be able to enhance our reward system in order to attract and retain our staff. So it's not only just to good to have. It's actually to position the organization in the right place.
Very good, very good. Both of you hit the nail on the head, guys. If we are not aware of where we are in that benchmarking process, if we don't know whether we are doing well or whether we are lagging behind, that's a problem, because the only time we will know is when we lose all our talent and we can't recruit people because we are not offering what all the competitors are offering. So benchmarking is a huge, huge issue. And it's something that we need to be doing. But again, I will guarantee, not guarantee, but 99% guarantee that your organizations are not doing this particularly well. I might be wrong, but I've not seen many organizations putting a priority to benchmarking where they are in relation to basic salaries and as well as reward and recognition. Am I wrong? Or if you think I'm wrong and you think, no, actually my organization is brilliant, Faiza, you tell me what you think. Hi, Faiza, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think?
So you mean being reactive?
Yeah, no, I don't think that many organizations do this well, this benchmarking. Do you think your organization does?
Well, to be honest, we used to do it and then we stopped it for some time. And the result of that is we are not competitive anymore. We have lost lots of our staff to other organizations. Due to several reasons, and one of them is not doing the salary benchmark as one of those surveys. Yeah.
So you've seen the negative impact of this, then, Faiza, yeah?
Yes, the impact was, and even employees were asking about it. So you used to do something like a salary survey, and we used to, and we used to benefit out of that. Now you stopped it completely, or maybe you are doing it, but you don't want to raise our packages. Yeah. So the impact is really high. Hopefully we will go back on track, especially nowadays, because the turnover rate is really going high.
Okay.
So it's a good, to me personally, I think it's a good tool for the employers to be able to attract and retain their current staff.
Very good, very good. Well done, Faiza. Thank you. Abdullah, you were going to say something?
Yeah, almost the same point which Faiza raised. We totally agree that benchmark is a very critical in overall business. The same with us, we tried several times to push to go, for example, with the salary survey to understand where our position is, because again, this time we'll struggle with because the turnover is going up. Another point is not a matter of knowing where we are now, or at least is not another point is to match with the competitors. I think with benchmark, to know what our competitor has, so we make something better than them. Because it will be no matter if I'm doing the same as my competitor. I didn't solve the issue. I should know what my competitor is doing, so I do something better than the competitor. So I will be in a much better position to attract and retain my talents.
Interesting. Thanks, Abdullah. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Guys, I'm gonna put this to you as another thought. So when we look at benchmarking, we're looking at money, monetary, basically, Are we offering the right salaries? Are we offering the right rewards? Are we at the right level, etc.? Do we give them enough hourly pay? What about the non-tangible parts of an organization? How would sorry, Faiza, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to ask you, are these important anymore? You know, the fact that it's a nice place to work, the fact that it's got, you know, a lovely offices, the fact that it's close to where you live. Do you think these are a big consideration anymore? Or is it all about reward and money?
No. In fact, those non-monetary are now have more impact rather than the monetary, right?
Okay.
So for example, we do have like the schooling, we do have other benefits that are not monetary, and staff actually, and even the location, because we do have 2 different locations, so it suits lots of people. So if you did not really take into consideration the full EVP package, you're gonna lose people, because not everyone is after money. Some of them, the well-being is really
interesting. So that's becoming as big a part now, Faiza, yeah?
Yes.
Interesting. Anybody else want to add to that, guys?
From my
yes, I would like to add.
Sorry, guys. Abdullah, if you go first, and then Farhan.
Sarhan or Talal?
Go ahead, mate.
Just very few things. I think they both are complementary to each other. The same again as the Faiza mentioned. For example, if I got all the monetary kind of things, but me as a human, it will not be enough for me unless I have other things, which is the non-monetary side, to that I feel I got everything as a person in the company. Again, the well-being kind of things, the recognition culture, in fact, in the cultural side, we are a human. Even if we get the highest salary, if my boss didn't thank me in front of everyone, I will not feel the value, because the salary is private to me. No one knows it. But when someone recognizes me and appreciate me in a very public gathering, imagine the how proud I will be at that time.
Interesting.
Another thing, like for example, the time off, the extra day off after long time of heavy working, appreciation of the board of directors, top management, putting my picture, for example, in front of everyone, and with my major achievements, that will make me proud. Again, referring to Maslow hierarchy of
so it's that top end, that internalization. Excellent. Abdullah,
that's my
much. Good point, mate. Good point. Thank you. Farhan, do you want to add to that?
Yes, I would like to refer to that Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Actually, it is hierarchy of needs, and you see at the very low level, it is the physical needs, the shelter, the money, the food. These are very important, especially if the economy is not good. For example, with £1, you could buy many things over there, but with 1 rupee, I cannot even buy a chocolate.
Yes,
Yes. So what I have observed in over here, that people shift the self-actualization, the recognition, the social part, those come next. People first, what they first see, that are they taking enough back to feed their family? And you know that we have a joint family system over here. So it is not only my wife and my kids, my family, my parents, my relatives, my brothers and sisters, all of them are looking towards me to bring back something. So I've observed that most of the time people shift because they feel that they are not being paid enough.
Got you. So again, it's that needs, isn't it? What is important to people at the time? Yeah, interesting. Well done, guys. Thank you. Good talk. Well done. So how do we benchmark? This is really a difficult thing to answer because I don't think it's a fixed science, and sometimes there aren't that many opportunities, and it's not an easy thing to do. So you can look at salary surveys, local information, recruitment data, published job advertisements, although these days adverts don't have the salary on them most of the time, public information and other reports, informal networking. There's a lot of information on social media, but to get salary information and bonus and reward information is really, really difficult. There are consultants out there that can do it. They go out and they gather that information. There are other organizations that put magazines together, or industrial sort of magazines that would have information like that. But I think it's getting harder and harder to find this information, basically because you've got so much restriction on privacy laws, on what people are allowed to put into adverts, what people are allowed to ask people. So this is becoming harder and harder, guys. And I think it's something that is got to a point where one of the in the Western world, one of the main ways of benchmarking financial information, like salaries, like bonuses, is actually on the black market. There are people who hack this information, and you can buy it for a fair amount of money, and that seems to be a growing industry, trying to actually illegally find this information. So that's an interesting scenario. Are we willing to pay criminals to get information that will help our organization? I'll leave that one to you to think about, guys. It is intriguing. It is. How far are we willing to go? How far are we willing to go?
I think maybe it is the applicability of such information from country to country will make the difference. Yeah. Here in Oman, I think that salaries, even the private sector, somehow is controlled.
So you think there's a sort of capping going on, do you think?
Sort of. So it is really controlled. It is not really, it is, I will not say it is a free market where you can raise the salaries based on the...
No, I think you're right. I think there are definitely more limits now, financial limits to what organizations can do. There are legal limits. I don't think the idea of an open market really exists today, because so many companies are linked, so many companies have got connections. There's very few independent organizations out there. They've all got some connection to somebody else somewhere, and it's difficult to find sometimes. So yeah, I don't think that that idea of an open market is really alive anymore. And again, if you're a conspiracy sort of type of person, there's a controlling cabal of these alumni, or whatever you want to call them, Illuminati, dependent on which theory you want to follow. And you know, these guys are controlling these areas, and these people are putting limits onto other organizations around the world. So it's is it the downfall of the capitalist idea? Is it all just going down the drain? As the free market stopped because things are just so expensive? Is it the very limited type of organizations that can do these things? You look at the companies now that are considered extremely successful from a monetary point of view. We've got Amazon, we've got Google, we've got Microsoft, we've got Apple. all very much based in a very particular sector, the high-tech sector. Although Amazon obviously has grown from a supply and a retail area, but it's still, I would think, classed as a technical sort of center. So is it just certain industries can afford to do this now, guys? It's an interesting question, and something, again, I think we need to think of. And how is this affecting expectations outside of those industries? Hussein? You okay there, Hussein?
No comment.
You're good. Okay. So pros and cons of reward benchmarking. You can see that on the screen. The good points allows you to directly compare your employee benefits with competition, helps measure your ROI, promotes public recognition, helps the cost efficiencies, increased intelligence on competition. But as I say, I think it's getting harder and harder to get that information. Cons, challenging to obtain benchmarking data. There we go. Most benchmarking tends to focus on the monetary as opposed to the non-monetary, which we talked about. Self-evaluation of what is truly important to their workforce and not others. So again, yeah, you know, in one country, in Oman, there might be certain priorities. In Saudi, there might be different priorities. So benchmarking can sometimes be almost pointless. So yeah, it's an interesting thing to think about, guys. It is important, but how important is that information? And is it always just those benchmarking criteria that attract people? Is it more about social networking, what people are saying to each other? Is it more about being an employer of choice because people like working with you? And that comments get out into the social networking. This is a good company to work with. Is that reputational piece more important than all the rewards and the salary? What do you think, guys? Does that social media thing, that thing where people are saying, this is a good company, I enjoy working here, I really love this company, does that now outweigh your salary and reward program? What do you think?
I think, yes, the social media has really played a bigger role in that. Currently, before the social media, people would know only from those people who work, if they do have relatives, if they have somebody they know in that specific company. But now in the social media, it's more powerful and strong tool that people are using to understand more about specific company, for them to know the insights of any company that they want. So through that social media.
Excellent. Yeah. So this brings us to another question, Allan, guys. In your organizations now today, if you made a decision tomorrow to say, right, we are going to reduce rewards because the financial situation is very tight, but we're going to increase our social media marketing, and we're going to employ an influencer to go all over the social media to tell everybody how good we are. Do you think that would be a feasible plan? Do you think it would work? It would definitely save money. How do you think that might work, guys? Would it be something that you might even consider?
That will be like cheating the new recruits.
No, I think also, Faiza, the employees that will be their salaries or packages reduced have more influence than the influencer on the social media.
Yeah, they won't accept it, I believe. So it's not a really good strategy.
So okay, so just to be clear, well, I probably worded it right. So we're not lowering people's salary, but we may be looking at different ways of reward that are non-monetary, because the whole idea is that we need to sort of cut down our costs. So let's have a look at different rewards. Let's keep the salary there or thereabouts, but let's now employ and take advantage of social media? Do you think it would not work then, guys?
I think it will. I think it will, because people. For example, the current employees will be considering the current packages that they have. They will look at whatever you will take from them, so they will feel like impacted. But if you are bringing in new people, and then you are bringing in new kind of EVP that might be competitive, and maybe those people are looking forward towards it. Like, for example, you are offering flexi working hours. You are offering well-being packages. You are offering, I don't know, whatever new kind of AVP that might attract employees. So yes, social media will help you getting all of those employees as well, new recruiting.
I think so, Fraser. Leanne, you don't think it'll work. So my question to you is, if we have an organization that does everything brilliantly, the well-being, the inclusion, diversity, fairness, everything within that organization is really good, okay? Really good. They work very hard at it. But they are offering 5% less on salary, and they don't give us many bonuses. Do you think if that was marketed over social media properly, that it wouldn't be competitive, that it wouldn't be able to interest people coming in?
I think if they marketed that aspect of like paying 5% less, as you mentioned, that would be a negative marketing, I would say.
Right, no, okay, sorry, I gotta be clear. We wouldn't be telling people particularly that we are paying less, but we would be marketing all the other benefits that, look, we are good at this, we're good at that, we care about the people. Do you think that when people then come in and have an interview and they find out, well, actually the salary is about 5% less than the competitors, that all the other bonuses would have no beneficial effect?
It would to some extent, because some people, as we discussed earlier, they would be quitting sometimes managers, not jobs. So they might shift for a better line manager, they might shift for a better, I would say, even though with the less salary, they would say, okay, my well-being is above everyone else and above money as well. So actually this comes down to the individual, him or herself.
Good point.
So
good point.
Yeah.
Good. No, interesting, guys, interesting. The reason I'm saying this because I worked, I'm not going to say who I worked for or where it was, but I worked for one organization for a year as a project manager, very high-end company. And the salary and the bonuses were amazing, absolutely amazing. But it was the worst year of my life, the worst year of my life. My manager was a bully. He couldn't manage people. He was a liar, just a horrible, horrible man. The organization was corrupt, just not a nice place to work. Brilliant salary, absolutely amazing money. Would I have stayed there? I had a contract for a year. I was contracted for a year as a project manager. I finished that year. I would not have stayed there, even if they doubled my salary. So it's not all about money, guys. It's getting the other things good as well, you know? Good. Good. Okay, right. The role of salary clubs. Has anybody heard of salary clubs? Has anybody been involved with a salary club? Marianne, you've done a bit of benchmarking. Have you heard of salary clubs?
No, not quite.
No.
No.
I don't see them very often. I think they might be more of a Western thing because I haven't seen them in the Middle East too much. Has anybody heard of this, guys? Just let me know if you have.
No.
No? Okay. No. So not perhaps out there just yet. So basically, it's a group of organizations, group of companies, group of businesses that get together and actually exchange pay information. Well, quite shocking, isn't it? So 20 different companies will get together and say, look, this is what we offer our managers, this is what we offer our employees, this is what we offer our manual workers. So they almost, if you imagine, by joining this club, you are getting rid of competition. Doesn't that sound like a good idea? So by talking to your competitors, discussing things over a cup of coffee in a meeting every month, your senior managers get together, your financial managers get together and say, right, this is what we offer. This is where we want to keep the prices. Isn't that a good thing? Or is that the organizations now controlling almost the trying to get rid of the influences that are pushed upon them by employees? Do you think this is a way that the organizations see of defeating that, of winning against the demands? What do you think, guys?
I think, yeah, because it seems as if all of those organizations are uniting against employees. So they are not opening that competition anymore.
No.
So as if they are forcing you kind of to stay within that company.
Yeah.
Unless the only drive is leaving your line manager, that's the only benefit you are getting.
Okay, so is that a bad thing, Faiza? If these organizations are being able to cut costs or reduce the amount of money they're spending on bonuses, on salaries, making the companies more profitable by getting together and discussing, even though it's at the perhaps the cost of employees, isn't that a good thing?
I think it's good for organizations and HR, but
Yeah.
it's not good for employees. No.
Okay. Okay. What does everybody else think? I want a few thoughts on this, guys. Are pay clubs, salary clubs, do you think they're a good idea? Or do you think they're a way of sort of cheating the employees? What do you think?
I know for a fact, Alan, that this is the case in our sectors here in the economy, where actually it's government driven. That all the HR managers for the big players in a certain industry, they will come together. They will agree that nobody will leave from one company to another company,
right?
Except with a certain percentage of increase in salary, for example, 10% or 15%.
Okay.
And it's like a gentleman agreement.
Wow. Okay, that's. No, do you think that's a good thing then, Bader?
See, for me, usually this happens when there is an external competition, a foreign for competition, for example, that's coming, and the local competition. Usually, they will sit together. By combining this information together, they can be one entity compared to different entities.
Excellent.
So,
excellent.
To me,
So there's safety in numbers, Bader. That's what we're saying, yeah?
Yes, exactly. So it's in a free market. This is only natural. This will definitely happen.
Yeah.
But in our case, this is not a free market. This was government driven. It was, I don't like to say a conspiracy, because most of the employees, they know about it already.
Yes, yeah. That's really interesting. And maybe that's safeguarding the industry.
Exactly, yes.
Maybe it is. Maybe it's a very, very good move. Yeah, that's interesting. Guys, again, something to think about, yeah?
Yes, and I would like to add, Alan, this happened after the labor unions was included in the Oman labor law. So because of this industry had such a good labor union activists, and labor unions, they speak for the rights of the employee.
Yes.
This was a negative effect that happened to fight or to counter this move.
Right. So were the unions in favor of this then, or were they trying to?
No, definitely not.
I wouldn't have thought so. So was it a reaction against the unions?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, interesting. Really interesting. Sama, yes.
Yes, sir. Just I remember something. One of the companies I was working with, they were actually trying to get information about the salaries so they can check where they are between the hospitals, because with the healthcare field, most of the hospitals in the Eastern Province, all of them in the same area.
Yeah.
And all of them, they were actually like the opening was in certain period after 2018. In 2018, we have maybe 2 to 3 hospitals in the whole region, but after 2018, most of maybe 4 to 5 hospitals and strong hospitals opened on that time. So we were desperate about how can we get the information about the cells so we can be sure that they will not take our employees and our doctors. And what happened that the recruitment manager, he said, we can get this information from the people who are applying for us as an assignment. They were asking them to give the salary information for them.
Brilliant.
And because the candidate was desperate to be employed and get the job, he was giving them just like that.
Excellent. Genius. Genius. And one of the good ways of benchmarking is by talking to employees that have left other jobs. It's one of the most popular ways of benchmarking. So if you get a new employee that's come from somewhere else, you get all that information. So how much was you on? How much were you in? What were the bonuses like? Yeah, very, very interesting. Well done, Sama. Thank you. Thank you. So, yeah, salary clubs, I think they're a good thing, but they can be twisted a little bit. And interesting from Bada's point of view that they were actually set up in Oman to combat the unions. Wow, never thought about that. Never thought about that. Really good, really good. Okay, guys, what time is it there now? It is 2 o'clock. Is that correct?
Yes, you are right.
2 o'clock, yeah. And
3 in Oman.
3 in Oman, yes, 3 in Oman.
And 4 in Pakistan.
And 4 in Pakistan, yeah. Yeah, okay, look, we're on the last question now, guys, okay? Not too far. Now, do you want a quick 10-minute coffee break before we hit this, or do you want to just carry on through?
10-minute break would be okay.
You okay for a little 10-minute break, guys?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
let's make it very, very quick. 10 minutes, go away, make a cup of coffee, come back, don't be late.
Okay.
Okay, guys.
Thank you, sir.
No problem. And don't call me sir, it's Allan. It's Allan. Allan.
Okay. Thank you, Allan.
Right, 10 minutes, guys, 10 minutes.